welcome to the podcast.
John sounded a bit turned on there. I didn't like that.
I wasn't going for that. I was just going for generic groan. You know, there was just a bit of a at the end. Actually, you know, you're right. Actually, that sound okay. Fine. I misjudged that.
Well, why do you groan like at the end? What's the what?
I don't know. Sometimes like,
Who's gonna clean this up?
welcome back to the podcast.
John's there going like, Marionette, come in here, please. Yes, clean this up. Thank you. Yes, wipe her down, thank you.
We were supposed to be going into a bit where we just, you know, we're talking about how we've all had not very good months, but that derailed fast.
Well, it sounds like you've had a great fucking
Which is why the podcast is a bit late.
Fuck it. I was sick. You were. Rat was dead.
Were sick, and then we were supposed to record, and then I had to have an operation, so I was sick.
Yeah.
And then John's life exploded.
Then our cat passed, which was very sad.
So
yes, we kind of had, you know, overlapping waves of this is not a good week. So
yeah.
That's why there's been no podcasts. Sorry, but our health does not supplant your fucking right to a podcast.
It's all going to work out because welcome to the Naughty 3 special!
Yay!
I only watched
Can I just say, I'd like to take this opportunity to apologise for just literally abandoning Matt midway through the PC gaming show to go and sleep.
I need to say, I want to say something about that, because see, often when Dan does a bit, he lets me know. He didn't know he was doing a bit, he just left.
I was so tired.
I sent you a message being like, are you gone or is this a bit? I didn't hear back. He just fucked up and went to sleep. Cheeky bastard.
I was asleep literally a minute later, and I slept for, 25 hours straight.
Yeah, the PC gaming show was so boring that Daniel just left.
I literally lapsed into a small coma. Rather than hear about whatever the fuck's AMD are talking about.
I mean, after the Xbox and Bethesda show, I think that was completely fair. It was just
Xbox and Bethesda showing was terrible this year.
I wouldn't say it was terrible, but I will say it didn't really have any big standouts. Like there wasn't really like a big surprise that everyone was like, oh.
No, yeah. I was surprised by how much Starfield was like No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah, that they did not show that game off very nicely at the start.
I was pretty surprised that they chose the footage where you could see the frame rate issues.
Yeah,
which feels like expectation management to me.
I don't understand, because they had all those nice shots of cities at the end, but the first like 5 minutes of gameplay is just like, I'm on a rock. Here's a bit of No Man's Sky gameplay and some really, really bad-looking gunplay where the XP comes up in the center of the screen, obscuring your aiming reticule for some reason.
It was a very peculiar choice of how they chose to open it.
Yeah.
It is a bit of an interesting one. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Notable thing that was revealed after the fact: there's no seamless space to ground.
That's so good, though. Do you have any idea how good that is?
Well, why is that good?
It's bad.
No. If they had actually said, okay, seamless, then what does that mean? That means every planet has to actually be like spherical. Meaning, if you walk one way, you've got to be able to walk all the way around it and shit.
But they are.
And that means every planet has to be big enough that it's not like a dumb joke Rick and Morty world where you can see the curve of the universe just by walking along it. So they've got to be big enough that you can do walk around the world without it seeming too tiny. And that means the worlds have to be artificially inflated way beyond what they should be. If you get rid of the seamless, you can just have a nice, sensible amount of space, like a Mass Effect 1 planet.
No, they're not like a Mass Effect. They are full planets.
They're not going to be. Not a chance are they going to be full spherical planets.
They've said they're going to be full. They've said they're going to be full spherical planets, and there's going to be 1,000. Which, you know.
Oh yes, and Bethesda never ever slightly overpromises, then rolls back.
Oh no, but this is the thing. Normally,
there will be at least some proper full spherical planets. Not a chance in hell are all of them going to be. No.
Normally, I'd agree with you, but it's just like there are several games that already do that, made by much smaller teams, so it doesn't seem out of, left field that you.
I feel like the fact that it's not seamless means they're going to roll that back, and plenty of planets, especially all the planets that are just small crafting worlds, are just going to be Mass Effect style. Here's a square. Here's a big ass square. Explore it. Every other bit of the planet is, oh no, this bit of the planet is high radiation. You can't go there. I'm telling you, right now, it is not going to be 1,000 fully spherical planets.
Have either of you played Star Citizen?
I will eat a spherical hat if it is.
Have you played Star Citizen, John?
That's just 2 hats put together, by the way, to be honest.
What, are you going to be
That's just 2 hats, rim to rim.
Are you going to be nomming on Mysterio?
Yes, I'm nomming on two hats that are rim to rim.
Yeah, John's really horny today, isn't he?
Fucking hell, this is a sexy podcast, this one. We got rim to rim already.
John, have you played Star Citizen?
No.
I just played Star Citizen.
Okay, I played a bit. So
Actually, it's possible I have. I can't tell the difference between, like, Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, the other one.
I bring Star Citizen up because
I can't fucking tell the difference between them.
How Star Citizen does its planet, it feels like how Starfield might, where you have effectively a main city area on a big planet, right? It's got a main city area where there's a landing place you can land properly. And then outside that, it's just mainly empty, and there's a couple of, like, randomly placed outposts throughout the rest.
That seems reasonable for big planets in Starfield.
I hate that shit too.
I hate that shit.
It makes it feel very nothing, where you have this really dense bit and then just nothing.
Yeah, it's just here's where we plonked.
It feels like Starfield's going to be that.
It's definitely going to be that.
Which I don't like. There's 1,000 planets.
There's no aliens. No alien species have been shown off in any of the footage.
I mean, there might be
literally the first thing is a little alien pops up. The guy looks at it and he's like, "Oh fuck, you've got a gun," and then pisses off.
No, like aliens, like little scary beetle monster things to chase, but like aliens to talk to. You know,
how do you know it wasn't talking?
I mean, there might be
aliens. That's pretty alien racist of you.
There might be aliens talking.
How do you know that thing wasn't like communicating like in a frequency we can't hear? It was just like, "Oh, hello, good sir. Oh, I see you've got a gun. Never mind, I'll be on my way with my family. You have a good time now." Blimey, he was a bit aggressive. We shall tell the homeowners association about this.
I want a game designed by John about aliens. I want an alien game where John does all the voices.
In all fairness, it feels like Starfield's going to fully embrace my ability to want to be the most boring motherfucker in space, because you can see on the trait screen, you can start the game with a small house on one of the planets, and you've got a mortgage you've got to pay off. And you can have.
You're never gonna leave.
You can have living parents who also live on a different planet. You can go and visit them and just check in with them and see how they're doing.
I loved how
you can go visit them.
like,
and I desperately want the third trait to be available. Bethesda, I'm begging you, add in student debt. I want to be able to give my character intelligence +1, but you get a student debt that you've also got to service.
It's going to be like taxes coming up.
I want student debt. I want mortgage. I want parents who I'm occasionally sending a bit of money to so they can have a nice retirement. All right, I want to be doing stuff just to get money to keep up with my debts, damn it.
Why did Bethesda, right? Everyone, like, Bethesda sat there and everyone's like, "Hello, Bethesda. We really, really like your very dense, very detailed, small, highly well-crafted world." And they went, "Right, so what you want is a
Fallout 3?
Yeah,
that's the opposite of Fallout 3.
Yeah, and I don't like Fallout 3.
Fallout 3 uses empty space to create atmosphere and a feeling of scale and lonely desolation.
Yeah, but it's still a small...
Which is, I think, exactly what Starfield's going to do.
What?
Yeah, but on a scale where... Like, I'm just going to say, I've lived on this one planet for 33 years now, and I've explored like 1% of it, if that. Like, I've really not travelled very far. Planets are big.
Yeah, they are.
They're really quite big.
Apart from the small ones.
Apart from, well, they're not any planets anymore. Are they Pluto, you piece of shit?
How dare
you? Piece of shit fake planet. You piece of shit.
Pluto? Like, is it like the size of the UK if you wrapped it around?
No, Russia. You could basically slot it into Russia just about.
That still feels pretty big.
Not a planet, though.
I mean, like, if you look at Russia on a map, it's covering quite a big chunk of the Earth.
Yeah. But, you know...
It's not a planet, though.
Well, Mars is smaller than the Earth, and that's a planet.
But Mars is smaller than the
Earth, right?
Sorry. Mars is smaller than the Earth.
Yeah.
But it's not smaller than the moon, is it?
Well, I'm going to be honest, I'm not actually sure about that.
Pluto's
John's about to learn something!
Pluto is a dwarf planet, John. The specific wording is a dwarf planet.
No, it's a little people planet now.
It's bigger than an asteroid, but smaller than a planet. It's got its own classification. I don't know what's confusing here, John. There's different classifications of planets.
They changed it, and they were like, "Fuck you, Pluto."
I'm just looking for a nice... I've found a nice little images where all the planets are balls, and they're sitting next to each other.
An important thing to remember, John, is that one of the reasons...
Okay, Mercury is barely any bigger than Pluto. Mercury and Pluto are basically the same size.
No.
Yes.
Mercury is very small, but one of the things with Pluto...
According to these balls I'm looking at... Which I don't, which are from Universe Today, which I'm not convinced sounds like an entirely legitimate scientific endeavor. But according to these balls that Universe Today laid out next to each other, Mercury is barely any bigger than Pluto, and now I'm even more outraged than I was previously. And I was already somewhat outraged.
I'm really enjoying John googling one picture of planets and arguing with every planetary scientist in the world.
I feel like the Moon and Pluto look about the same size.
Hang on, wait. I'm going to call up the AAU, and I'm just going to let them know that John disagrees. Are you Jerry from Rick and Morty?
No, they are genuinely pretty close. They are genuinely pretty close. The Earth's moon is 2,100 miles across, Pluto 1,400. That's like 66% of the way there.
Yeah. Right? John, if you ran 66% of a race, you wouldn't win the race, would you, John?
John, I'm looking at a picture. I think
you'd still get a little certificate to say you entered.
John, Pluto's like an eighth of the size of Mercury.
I think, dwarf
planet... Okay,
planet...
I suspect that these balls I'm looking at are not correct, then.
Also,
wait, do you mean by volume? Are we doing this by volume or circumference?
Mass.
Oh, well, that's cheating.
How is...
Because if you're doing it by mass, then if you just shrink a planet just a little bit, you've shrunk it its height and its breadth and its depth and all the other radii, and then you take tons off, and it's barely any smaller. That's not fair. We should do this on width, not mass.
Well, explicitly, you're not taking tons off, are you?
Except, hang on, wait. When you say mass, does that mean gas planets have? Even if they're fucking huge, wouldn't have as much mass. Because that feels like that's not fair to the gas planets.
But gas planets are really fucking huge, John.
Yeah, but
no, John,
when we say by mass,
John,
is a dense really planet got more mass, even if it's smaller?
That's how...
What's mass?
Oh, fuck me.
What's mass?
What's mass?
What's mass?
Mass is one of those...
Is a denser planet got more mass than a less dense planet? If you've got two planets, and they're as wide as each other, but one's made of, super dense rock and one's a gas shit, do they have the same mass, yes or no?
Okay, John, mass is one of those fundamental properties of the universe, which is not easily explainable. We can explain its effect, but not specifically what mass means.
Can I say?
Yes.
John's mind would be blown with that whole 1 ton of bricks, 1 ton of feathers thing.
Oh, he would, wouldn't he? There's a Limmy sketch, which is perfect for you, John.
Yeah.
They're both a kilogram. But look at all those feathers. There's way more of those. That's cheating, he says.
I feel like I could get my head around that. I get that one. That's all right,
John. But that's tiny. That steel's tiny. Look at all
that
those
cow
feathers.
is so far away.
Literally.
That cow is big but far
John,
away.
Let me just briefly. Okay, you know how black holes. You know what a black hole is?
Well,
does anyone
probably
really?
No. I'm gonna be honest. I've got some ideas in my head, but I think they're all probably wrong. Because I think some of them are from the film Event Horizon, which I also can't remember very well.
On a base level, a black hole is the most. I mean, I'm going to use the term massive in its accuracy. It's the most massive object, and it's the most dense object in the universe.
Well, now you're bringing density into it. What's density?
Well look, just because we're talking about we're talking about a big. You're saying a big gas giant versus a small, dense planet, are they going to be the same mass? Well, yeah, potentially. But usually a gas giant is so big that it's way more massive. Way more massive than a small thing. Whereas a black hole is obviously incredibly dense and has a huge level of mass versus, you can have a black hole with the exact same mass of the sun, but it's going to be fucking minuscule compared to the sun.
Is there a reason that gas giants have to be so fucking big? It just struck me that all the gas giants are pretty big.
It's just the way things form. It's why the sun, because the sun's quite gassy as well. It's kind of lakes of fire and shit. Because it is just the same thing.
Is it because you need more gas for the gas to form up into a little sphere?
I assume that gas is just because it's drawn so much shit in, because it is so big that it gets massiver and massiver to the point where it's drawing in more stuff.
But why would a certain volume of gas be drawing in more shit than a certain volume of solid?
Well, it's not gas all the way through.
Oh yeah, there's a super. Yeah, but isn't like it a bit? Isn't like everyone a bit unsure what the fuck's going on in the center of Jupiter precisely? Because no one can measure it.
I mean, exactly. Yeah, there might be the fucking Gremlins tea party happening in there, but from all our scans and shit, we're like, yeah, that's solid. You can't just fly through it. It's not just a big ball of gas. It's a gas giant because it's mostly gas around the outside.
The fun thing, when you look at the way the solar system formed...
Wait, hang on. Does that mean Earth's a gas giant? Because sure, it's solid, but there's a whole bunch of gas around the outside in the atmosphere.
No, it's not giant.
Okay, no, sorry, that's just... Sorry. Not only is Earth not giant...
Wait, hang on. Is a gas giant because the solid bit in the centre's giant, or because the amount of gas is giant?
Fuck me.
Oh
John,
God.
just briefly, let's scroll it back. Earth is not a gas planet. You know why Earth's not a gas planet, right?
Well, you say, I assume because it's got a solid core, but apparently so does Jupiter.
No, John, because when we're talking about the atmosphere of the Earth is like 0.1% of the width of the planet. Like, it's basically an incredibly thin skin, right?
You know, I never really thought about it. Like, if you asked me to draw the Earth of the atmosphere, I'd draw the atmosphere, like, quite a bit above.
Yeah,
and
no.
say, you know what, there's a good bit of atmosphere going on.
The atmosphere is like the thinnest, tiniest skin of a rocky
planet. How high do you go up before you run out of atmosphere?
I mean, it doesn't just stop at any point. It just slowly tapers off. The official boundary of space is like, what, 100 kilometers? No, 100 kilometers. Is it 100 kilometers?
That doesn't feel like much now you say it like that.
He deals with.
Well, that does not feel like much at all, does it?
No, it's not much, although it just keeps petering off and petering off.
Like, if I had a car that could drive straight upwards, even if it wasn't a very good car, I could get there in like an hour and a bit.
John, a car that could drive straight upwards is not a very good car. You wouldn't get very far at all with that one.
I mean, you got to remember, John, even the International Space Station, for example, it is slowly deorbiting because it is hitting the occasional bit of air molecules that are still up there.
We should just really adjust that. Just like go up to the cockpit and just give the steering wheel a nudge to the right.
It was a few years ago, I remember, they found, like, the core of a gas giant just, like, fucking on around a different star. And I remember reading this paper. It was like, a failed gas giant. It was a gas giant was going, oh, I'm a gas giant, oh, I'm a... And it fucked up at some point. So it was literally all that was left was the core of, like... Because for ages, we were like, is it liquid, is it solid? And most people now think it's solid. But they found actually a core of just a gas planet, just a gas giant fucking around.
So something's like knocked out of its orbit or something.
I can't remember what it was. I think they were saying something like it just let its gas go for some reason, or it expand too fast and it all flung away. I can't remember.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like, the universe is fucking big. I guess like most of it must be just where stuff failed to happen.
The thing with gas giants, especially, is say with our solar system, for example, the reason Jupiter's so big is because it literally. It's one of the first things that formed properly, and it just basically stole most of the material in the solar system for itself.
Oh, do we know that? Do we know what order the planets came into existence?
Yeah. No, you can pretty accurately track that, yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. But, like, if Jupiter was there first and was already attracting all the shit, how did anything else form at all? Why didn't we just all get sucked into Jupiter?
Not all the shit, just a lot of the shit. And it doesn't suck you in. I mean, if stuff's orbiting, it's not going to get everything. It's not how gravity works.
If I had to put a guess in, does this mean Saturn's number 2? Because Saturn's big and gassy. It's kind of like Jupiter, but better because it's got rings.
I don't know, actually. I mean, hang on, I can check. Hang on, planet.
I feel like Saturn's number 2.
We have rings. Earth has rings. Everything. Almost all planets have rings.
Saturn's rings.
Yeah, but Saturn's got proper ones.
No,
Saturn does. Oh, so does Uranus, doesn't it?
Saturn's proper rings only formed relatively recently. When the dinosaurs were around, Saturn didn't have its famous rings.
Holy shit, that is my favourite new fact.
Yeah.
Jonah, isn't it?
I like that fact. I've learned something really fun today.
We've
had sharks. Haven't we had sharks on Earth longer than there's been rings around Saturn?
What?
Right, yeah. Because
sharks predate trees.
Did something just explode?
No, Saturn's rings, John, are a moon that disintegrated. It's a moon that disintegrated.
That's so cool. That's like the setup to a sci-fi game.
That's just what do you think the asteroid belt is?
In fact, I'm pretty sure that was the plot of the first Dead Space.
Because
they blow the shit out of the moon.
This is one of the ways planetary scientists are able to know what's inside of moons and shit, because you can look at rings, especially Saturn's rings, and go, well, it's all fucking broken up for you. And we can look at them pretty close up, and we have looked at them pretty close up. And it's really
so,
cool.
like, if someone nuked our moon, it would just turn into, like, a huge ring?
No, if someone nuked our moon, nothing would happen.
There'd be a small...
Well, something would happen. Someone's just blown up the fucking... Something's got to happen. It's got to go somewhere.
John, the Americans planned to nuke the moon during the Cold War as a show of force.
I'm not sure whether you're making that up or
not.
No,
that's true. They wanted to nuke the moon so you could see a big nuke and go, look, we blew the moon up.
And also, there was like some vague scientific reasoning for it, but it was clearly just for like a whatever reason. It was like, oh, we're going to do it to see what's inside the moon, but like...
In the Cold War, did we not know that tides were caused by the moon?
What was that?
Yeah, but it wouldn't do anything. The moon's fucking massive, mate.
Yeah, like,
not like to destroy. I thought you were suggesting the Americans planned to destroy the moon.
No, just nuke it. One nuke, bosh.
Like the reason.
Oh, that's fine then. Okay, I thought you were saying America planned to destroy the moon. No,
the reason
struck me as a problem.
Like Saturn's moon, like the moon that got destroyed in Ten of the Rings, that would have been destroyed because of gravitational shearing. Not necessarily something hitting it. It would have literally just.
It was slowly torn apart.
Yeah, by Saturn's gravity along with
a rock with water dripping on it.
Yeah, but the fun thing
bit by bit it was worn away but by gravity instead of water.
Kind of, yeah, but also the fun thing about Saturn's rings, you can also see new moons forming in Saturn's rings.
Yeah, we got stellar bodies form on time, like Ceres, which is another dwarf planet, which is in the asteroid belt.
Ceres is bigger than... Actually, it's about the same size as Pluto, isn't it?
No, smaller.
Okay, but if you're rotating around another planet, you cannot be a planet.
The thing with Pluto,
that is too far even
The thing with Pluto to remember, obviously, is historically, what everyone thought was Pluto is actually two planets. It's Pluto along with, and they're just orbiting each other, isn't it?
No, it's its moon, isn't it? It's Pluto and Ceres or whatever its moon's called.
It's
big. It's a proper big-sized moon.
Yeah, but
that's what made it look bigger.
But that's what I mean. Didn't it mean that everyone's general understanding of what the mass of Pluto was actually quite a lot less because they were taking into account both of those bodies, not just Pluto?
Not recently. Pluto wasn't found till...
No.
I feel like that should actually be okay if they're like close enough together. Like, you know how in Robot Wars, Gemini was allowed to enter because
clusterbots rule,
yeah, clusterbots rule. Like clusterbots are allowed to enter. I feel like that rule, as long as like Pluto's staying within it's always staying in touching distance of its friends, then they should be allowed to enter as one planet.
You are right, by the way, John. Saturn did form second.
John, I will.
Excellent. I feel like if you were to exclude Pluto's moon, then I feel like by logic you'd have to say, well, you have to exclude Saturn's rings. When you pick Saturn, fuck the rings, because that's not part of Saturn.
Well, they do. When you're talking about the mass of a planet, you're just talking about the planet, not what's orbiting the planet.
Yeah, but like if you ask someone to draw a picture of Saturn, they're always going to draw it with the rings, ain't they?
John, you said if the moon is within touching distance. I just want to...
Okay, that was an idiomatic use of the phrase touching distance. There was a film that came out recently I think you'd enjoy called Moonfall, which is a scientific investigation into what happens if you give thingy too much money. No, what happens if the moon gets too close and also is like a hollow and full of aliens. And also had tentacles, if the moon had tentacles.
And it's an egg.
Yeah.
Like big space tentacles.
So, John, right. I mentioned Eris. This is going to blow your mind. Eris is a dwarf planet that is bigger than Pluto, mass-wise. Volume, it's slightly smaller, but its mass is bigger than Pluto.
Oh, fuck's sake. Okay, fine, yes.
So, like, there's... how many... I cannot remember how many dwarf planets there are.
Quite a lot. I'm guessing it lots.
I think it's like 8 or 9.
See, the thing you gotta remember, John, is
that... I was thinking like hundreds.
Well, the solar system's made up of, like, because you have the inner rocky planets, right? And then you have the major asteroid belt. And you have the two gas giants. Then you have the two ice giants.
Okay, I've got a question about the asteroid belt.
Okay.
Yes.
Because, like, in my head...
It's not like it is in your head.
In my head,
you're wrong.
I just kind of assume the solar system is like a flat plate. But obviously, it ain't.
It's kind of
like... No, it is. It pretty much is, apart from
why
Neptune,
why are all the planets roughly on a similar... like horizontal platey level, and why is even an asteroid belt doing this? Why is none of the planets just fucking off being like up and around rather than side to side?
Pluto, for example, Pluto's orbit is actually quite off.
Neptune's. No. Yeah, Neptune.
But why do they tend towards the same plane?
Because when a solar system forms, effectively, it is just a big load of material, right? And the sun forms in the middle of it, and it just starts orbiting the sun.
Yeah.
When it's because gravity works with disks, basically. It would have formed like Saturn's rings forms a disk. It forms all the galaxies are at different. Sorry, all the galaxies and solar systems are at different angles, but the formation of matter in the sort of the pull of gravity is disc, not spherical. Why it's disc not spherical, I literally don't fucking know.
There's a scientific reason it just sort of stabilizes into that. But the reason it stabilized into that initially when the sun formed, and then every other planet went through that material and formed in that material. And like Pluto's orbit's really off, because Pluto is probably a planet that was in the asteroid belt that got flung off probably by Jupiter at some point. So it's just fucking
I'm pretty sure that Pluto's is fine and it's Neptune's the one that's...
Hang on. Solar system orbits.
No, Venus. It's Venus is the wonk, isn't it?
Well, loads of them are out of what? Well, actually, John, one of the things that's going to blow your mind is that Uranus's rings are over its top, aren't they, relative to everything? They're not. It's not on its side.
Uranus has the wobbly spit. Yeah, you're right. It's
it's around from pole to pole.
Yeah. Well.
Yes. No. It's an angle. It's in the same. Based on its poles, it is straight, but actually the planet is tilted.
Oh, so the poles are weird.
I'm right. No, wait, I'm right. By
the
way,
do most planets have pole orientation that matches Earth's? Is that also a function of the same thing?
Well, that depends.
Like, if I take a compass to Mars, will north and south work?
Well, actually, it wouldn't work on Mars, because Mars doesn't actually have a magnetic field, really, at all. It's completely gone.
Magnetic fields too.
No, magnetic fields are generated by magnetic fields are generally generated by literally. I mean, you've watched the fucking core, right? It's generated kind of by the rotation of molten material inside the core. But
presumably ferrous material.
Yeah, but Mars previously had an active fucking...
I feel really bad for Mars. I feel like when we're studying Mars these days, we're not seeing Mars at its best.
It had an active core at one point, and probably a much larger atmosphere, but its core is dead, basically, and as a result, it's got really no magnetic field, which is why it's got really no atmosphere, because atmosphere just gets blown off by solar winds, and it's the magnetic... It's the Daniel, help. What's the word I'm looking for?
I zoned out. It's starting to feel like a lecture from someone who doesn't entirely know what they're talking
magnetic field. What's it called?
Earth's magnetic field.
The ionosphere.
No.
That's a word I've heard.
Fine.
Oh, yeah, we just shout sci-fi words. The paradox.
Magnetosphere. Magnetosphere.
Yeah, the magnetic field of a planet is what stops Earth's atmosphere fucking off, but Mars is gone, so that's why its atmosphere is fucked off.
I just feel really bad for Mars.
That's why a lot of people like Mars.
We have a time machine. Can we go back and see Mars when it was better?
No, that's not how science works.
Okay, I've had a thought about why it's lined up.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't remember. I don't even know if it's known. But like, because the sun's, of course, going through the galaxy at 220 kilometers an hour, kilometers a second, or whatever the fuck it is. Surely then, if it's going wee in one direction, if it's all that mass around it, it would get squished at the top and form down onto like. I can't. Imagine lobbing a water balloon, right? It's the
Are
best
you about
I can
to
do.
Discover a scientific principle? Are like scientists in the future going to have to listen to this episode of the podcast? This is the point where Daniel discovered.
No, I think I'm too thick to ever discover anything, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. I've come to terms with that.
By the way,
but I'm pretty sure
this is like if Isaac Newton was like recording a podcast while the fucking apple dropped. He's like, fucking things just wait.
I found it.
Wait a fucking guys! I've got a theory about this apple.
I want to know. I want to know: is the sun traveling perpendicular to its? Or the orbit of the planets. I've never questioned that. Is that how it's traveling?
It is a bit.
You see, this is why you need me here. I make you ask questions that lead you to interesting conclusions. You'd never have thought about this if I wasn't sitting here not knowing anything.
There's those fun animations where you see basically the actual path of each planet, but relative to the actual entire galaxy, and it's just like it's almost like a helix because the sun's moving in one way and the planets are orbiting around, but it is moving like. The sun's going up relative to where we are, basically.
Yeah, because we orbit the center of the supermassive black hole in the center of the galaxy.
Yeah, but it's all... Yeah, that's how it works. Anyway, no,
Wait. So that means because we're in an orbit around the galaxy, does that mean that the disk we're on is actually slowly rotating? So wouldn't it be that off of one end of the disk would be the center of the galaxy?
What?
If we're
I feel like Daniel's discovering something right now. I feel like we're witnessing history.
Look, we're traveling. Right, the sun is traveling around the galaxy.
Yes.
Yeah. 220 kilometers. I don't know where that number's come from. I've dug some like an old fact that's been in my head.
Yeah.
That might be completely wrong. For some reason, my head's like, it's 220 kilometers a second round the galaxy, and the galaxy's going 550 kilometers a second through space. We're traveling 30 kilometers a second round the sun. That all might be wrong.
No,
but that's...
it's 240 kilometers a second is the speed the sun travels around the galaxy, so you're pretty close.
240 kilometers. Oh, 220. Yeah, okay, I was right.
Yeah,
but if that's traveling around the galaxy, and then the orbits of the planets are around, like it's perpendicular to the direction it's traveling in, because it's in an orbit, then surely that should point the planar disk, the orbit disk, should be pointing directly to the center of the galaxy at all times, which I don't think is true, because I think other solar systems all point in different directions.
I found an explanation here.
So that means that I'm wrong.
Yes. The reason...
But that's the first step to being right.
The reason solar systems tend to be spherical, other than the way they are, is because the disk...
Spherical?
They're
not spherical.
Disc shape, whatever. It's the initial...
whatever.
I said plate. We're going to call this the John Plate model when we discover
the initial load of matter, right? So, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, we already discussed the initial load of matter. That gets wiped down by the help.
There's a lot of gas and dust falling into the initial start. This material has angular momentum, so it swirls around the central object, and the flow collides with itself. The collisions cancel out the angular momentum in what becomes the vertical direction and smear the material out in a horizontal direction, leading to a disk. Apparently, there's a mathematical reason.
I started listening at vertical erection.
And this entire bit leads us nicely into the Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, we got there. We're getting all the podcast classics today.
Oh dear.
Wait, I don't get it. So
there is a mathematical reason that it stabilizes out into a disk naturally.
Mathematical. Yeah, I understand that's for a reason. But if we are traveling, so which way is the sun traveling compared to the orbit that's around it? Is it just at a random fucking angle?
Every solar system is at a random angle compared to each other one. Yeah, pretty much. They're all completely random angles. So
eventually we're just going to run into a different one.
But does it stay? That's the thing does it stay? Does that angle ever stay, or is that angle also affected by gravity? If it's just a formation, I'm assuming it wouldn't be.
I'm assuming it's affected over a small amount over a very long time, but I can't imagine it's... Also, John, when you say colliding into other stuff, space really fucking big.
Time's also really fucking long.
No, but John, right, the Milky Way will crash into the Andromeda Galaxy, right, at some point.
Which will save us the trouble of having to travel there.
No, but you've got to understand.
Hence making, Mass Effect completely pointless.
When that happens, it's actually quite unlikely anything will actually hit each other. They'll likely just pass through each other. The orbits will probably be...
I never thought about that. That's so cool.
Orbits will probably get fucked up, but very little things will smash into each other, probably.
When you say orbits get fucked up, that sounds kind of important, because, I live on a planet with an orbit. I kind of like it where it is. Although you're not wrong, I wouldn't mind the Earth being a little bit further away from the sun. Things are getting a bit hot these days.
The Milky Way's going to crash into Andromeda a bit outside your lifetime. just
I don't know.
So this isn't a good solution to climate change. Just wait for this to happen, and Earth might just move a bit further away from the sun.
By the time it happens, our sun would have gone supernova, and Earth will no longer exist in any way, shape, or form, so I don't really think you have to worry.
Okay, so we need a better solution to climate change.
Yeah.
Okay. Why couldn't we just move the Earth slightly further away from the sun?
Fuck me.
Yeah. Let's all jump at the same time. That's what we'll do. We'll all just jump at the same time and push it down. We'll go to the top bit of the Earth, and we'll all jump.
Okay.
We'll go squishy down.
No. Help me out with the maths here.
John,
In theory, if we were to make the world spin faster or slower, would that lead to us going closer or further away, respectively, to the sun?
John, our distance from the sun, our specific distance from the sun, doesn't actually respond to climate change. The Earth actually moves significantly closer to the sun every time it orbits.
But if we move significantly further away, eventually it would have to make a difference.
Well, yeah, eventually, but we just freeze pretty much at that point.
But the sun's getting bigger. We got to time it just right.
Exactly. If we kind of get this going, we failed to properly plan for climate change 40 years ago. Now is the time we don't fucking make that mistake again. We start planning to change the rotation speed of our world so we can start expanding outwards so we stay ahead of the sun now.
I think we should just jump. It'd be cheaper.
Yeah.
It'd be like the clapping for the NHS, but everyone goes out and just has a big old slap on the floor.
Is there any particular reason why if we just built a fuck-off massive engine on the side of the world and turned it on whenever, like, the sun was above it, we wouldn't eventually shuffle our way a little bit away?
No, that would make complete scientific sense. We might lose the moon in the process, depending on how quickly we go.
I mean, also, there's the slight issue of the amount of thrust you would need to move the Earth, even a little bit, John.
We'll say that John's got that covered. It's the satellites I'd be worried about. I think, we'd fuck up all the satellites.
No, that's part of the plan. Like, I have read
John, we need the
half
moon.
an article,
really
though I didn't finish it, about there's too much fucking space junk. So if we just move the world away from the space junk, we leave the space junk behind, and we just keep the useful shit.
John, what about the moon?
We'd always be moving it towards space junk as well, so all the space junk would come into us.
We will do it at a time when, like, an empty bit of the world is facing the space junk, like the Pacific Ocean. There's not much there. There's a few bits, like Hawaii, and we're very sorry to those guys.
John, you're not thinking it through. You're not thinking it smart. Thruster on one side, magnet on the other. Just collect all the shit as we go.
Okay.
John, in this scenario, John, what happened to the moon?
We don't need the moon.
In theory, could we just go and put a similar booster on the moon?
We 100% need the moon.
Well, yeah, we'll do it if we can build one for Earth.
Okay, I know that we're losing the moon would be bad for something. Like, oh no, we don't have tides now. The 3% of power we get from tidal power won't work.
It does more than the tide. You got to understand, tides actually affect the entire ecosystem, and without the tides, we wouldn't actually have a lot of the
In all fairness, I think even with the moon, we ain't been doing a good job over the last few decades of maintaining Earth's ecosystem.
What?
You're right, and so were the Americans. Let's fucking destroy the moon. I want the rings. I
just feel like we're already not doing a good job with the ecosystem, so if we're going to make it a bit worse, fuck it. I'm the one who's saving Earth from being consumed by a supernova. What are you fucking doing today, Matt?
A supernova?
When did the supernova come in?
Where did the supernova come from?
Isn't that what you said the Earth was going to do? No, the sun.
Oh, I thought you were just dealing with the fact that it was going to go bigger.
Okay, I mean, short term, I'm going to help the world cool the world down. Long term, I'm keeping us ahead of the expanding sun.
No, John, what is it? Where do you think the sun's going to expand to?
Outside space, isn't it?
I'm not sure like how big the sun gets before it like pops or whatever it does.
Incredibly big.
Yeah, but we'll do that. I think we can thrust our way out of that, Matt. Let's be serious right now.
But
the supernova, on the other hand, we'll have new.
I think we can beat the sun's expansion. Sounds like it's really fucking slow. I think we could beat it.
No, but there's two things to it, John. Right? When the sun expands, it gets cooler. But here's the other thing, right? That happens, right? You'll move out the way, but then when the supernova happens, the sun contracts rapidly. Very rapidly into itself.
Okay, so we have to have another thruster ready on the other side.
Yeah, to just like.
But by then, we'll be really well practiced at moving the Earth because we'll have been getting the practice in under my plan. So we'll be ready at that point to get back up to the sun, or we could just piss off to a different star.
Yeah,
I mean, we can piss off to a different star. That seems like a
planet just floating through interplanetary space with no.
I'm not going to deny we're all going to need to wrap up warm and put on some extra layers while we're en route. We're going to have to put on scarves, hats, like 3 layers, coats inside. It's not going to be great, but it's going to be better than the alternative. I mean, fucking defeatist Matt's just sitting over here being like, oh well, Earth's just going to get destroyed by the sun. Shame, really. I'm the one who's fucking saving the Earth. I'm the biggest hero in human history.
Well, I will say something now. I feel like this is just an important little detail just to put in here that you're going to have to think about.
Okay.
Our sun is too small to go supernova or form a black hole.
Yeah, it won't form a black hole.
Oh, can we just stay here then? Is our solar system super safe?
No, we'll turn into a red giant.
What we'll need to do is I think we'll go to the sun when it's cooled down a bit, and we'll turn the gas back on. And we'll just put a lighter there or something and run away really quickly. And
you say this. I've seen the film Sunshine. You could just fire something into the sun to make it good again.
Demons, I think, was in that film, wasn't it? It's just fire the demons.
There were some sort of ghosts, I think.
I watched Sunshine literally 2 weeks ago, funnily enough. And Mark Strong's there with all this religious bullshit about keeping the Earth dead or some shit. There's no demons, it's just Mark Strong.
He goes a bit sun bananas because he got too close to the sun. He was like Icarus.
Well, a bit, but also he's like super religious.
Also, if I was making spaceships to go to the sun, I wouldn't call them the Icarus and the Icarus 2.
Well, yeah,
that'd be like the one thing I would not call the spaceship that's supposed to go towards the sun.
But then also, you shouldn't put Captain America and fucking Scarecrow on the same ship. That's a bad idea.
Yeah.
What's the one with the demons then? I'm thinking of.
Doom?
Are you thinking of the one with? Is the one you're thinking of have Lawrence Fishburne in?
Maybe. No, isn't that like a shark-based one or John Wick?
No, there's a space one with Lawrence Fishburne.
What's that called?
I'm gonna get you the name of it because I can't remember because it's.
Are you thinking of Event Horizon? Because that's a black hole. That's like not a star.
It's the one I was thinking of.
Which one? Event Horizon.
That's
that's the one with.
Yeah, that's the opposite of it. That's the opposite of a sun. They go into a black hole.
It's got fucking it's got big bollocks, Mr. fucking head of the Soviet Army, Red Army, in it, and fucking Morpheus.
Jason Isaacs.
Yeah, you know.
Jason Isaacs. He's not great for captaining ships, though.
Yeah, no, historically he's not. Not a good run, is he?
Anyway, so that was space.
You know what I really love? There's these Royal Mail do these Star Trek stamp collections, right? And they have.
You really love those, do you?
No, but here's the thing: they have 6.
Wow.
It's a collection of six types of stamps, right? Which is original series, so it's got Kirk on it, right? And then you have the Next Generation, it's got Picard on it, and you have DS9, which has Cisco on it. You have Voyager, which has Janeway on it. You have Enterprise, which has Archer on it, right? And then it gets to Discovery. Now, if you were to say who was the main character of Star Trek Discovery, would you say it's Captain Lorca?
Crying.
People would say I don't know because no one fucking watched it.
Crying.
Crying is also the main character. But on a stamp, would you put Lorca, the space Nazi, on the stamp? Or would you put Michael Burnham, the main character of the show, on the stamp?
I'd put Saru on the stamp.
I would put Saru on the stamp also. Not Jason Isaac, the space Nazi.
No, probably not.
No, that'd be a bit weird. That's what they did.
I didn't finish that series. I can't remember what happened. I gave up on that series. He just wasn't there in the second one. I was like, fair enough.
Sam Neill's in Event Horizon as well. That's what I was thinking of. Sam Neill. So you got fucking Dr. Alan Grant, you got fucking Morpheus, and you got Captain Lorca.
Well, it's bound to go fucking wrong then, wouldn't it?
It is definitely bound to go wrong. 100%. And Sean Pertwee.
I feel like you said that team to go and buy milk from the corner store and somehow it goes horribly wrong. never mind fucking black hole. If that team goes together just to go to Marks and Spencer's to buy a sandwich, shit's going sideways.
Fucking demons and shit in Marks and Spencer's. Buying their Percy pigs.
I didn't realise it was Paul Anderson who did it. Event Horizon.
Paul Anderson.
Who did all the Resident Evil films. He did all the Resident Evil films. He wrote all of them, and he directed the original Mortal Kombat film.
Mm-hmm. And put his wife in all of them too.
Yeah. Admittedly,
she's a zombie, Bo.
Having watched a lot of these on watch parties, several with John, actually.
Yeah, they're great films.
Yeah, no, the Mortal Kombat film was fantastic. It's weird that Event Horizon... He did Mortal Kombat, then Event Horizon, then Resident Evil. Yeah, all right.
A collection of films.
And Death Race. Don't forget about Death Race.
I'll forget about that.
I don't know, but I'd be willing to bet that if I had to say who made the Dead or Alive film, was it him? Did he make the terrible,
that'll be
brilliant Dead or Alive film?
No.
That'll be Uwe Boll. He makes the shit movie times like Blood Rain and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. That's fair and reasonable.
Oh, the Blood Rain films are on Prime.
Yeah, well, so's The Boys. Watch something good.
Wow, fuck me. Jesus, come on.
Corey. Actually, you say that. I do actually have an action figure of superhero Hitler on my desk.
You do have superhero Hitler on your desk. This is true. Sorry, are you talking about the 2006 Dead or Alive film?
I don't know. Whichever one had Holly Valance.
There's a 99 Dead or Alive film as well.
I didn't know there was more than one.
There's several.
I didn't actually know there was one, to be perfectly honest. There was a Dynasty Warrior film not that long ago, a couple of years ago, wasn't there?
DOA. Who did you say was in it?
Yeah, it's definitely the 2006 one because it's got Holly Valance in it.
Okay, so that's directed by someone called Corey Yuen. Corey.
Oh.
So he just does a lot of literally. Oh, he did the Transporter.
Oh, yes, I do. Autobots assemble and all that stuff.
That's exactly the film. That's exactly what I just said. Yeah, that is 100% the film I just.
So I wasn't zoning out.
Yeah, it's fine.
In my head, literally, since it was mentioned, I'm like, what's the fucking definition of mass? It's really started.
I watched a physics video the other day, and they were like, okay, someone was like, what's mass? And they're like, oh fuck, we can explain its effects, but not what it is.
It's if you apply like fucking inertia to an object, how it reacts to some other thing. But I can't remember the simple way of saying it. It's fucking me off right now.
Here's this person who... You see, this is why you should have finished your astrophysics degree.
Yeah, or you could have had a job.
Yeah, well... Sorry, I like the implication there that if you didn't do this, I'd just be homeless.
Oh, yeah, you'd be dead in a bin. Like, if you weren't here... If I didn't do this charity work, you would be dead in a bin.
Well, thank you.
John would confirm that. Like, Matt would be dead in a bin if I wasn't here, right?
No, I'd take care of Matt.
John, would you
take care of him like a puppy
John,
that was left under a bridge in a cardboard box? I'd take care of him.
John, would you have even YouTubed if there wasn't like the OG me hanging around? You know?
You know what? Probably not.
It's a valid point. It's a valid
Probably
point.
not. That's fair and reasonable.
Admittedly, I probably wouldn't be dead in the bin. I probably would have actually committed to doing astrobiology. Which I will probably be able to talk about this.
That doesn't sound like a real discipline.
No, it's a real thing.
You get a plant and you hold
just got to
it up
get
as
into the office,
possible.
put your feet up and say, right, have we discovered any life in space yet?
No,
nope, still not. All right, guess it's early lunch, boys.
Astrobiology is studying how life could form in another planet. For example, a lot of the Curiosity rover people are astrobiologists.
Just making shit up. Yeah, I could do astrobiology right fucking now.
No. I can just boot up Spore, innit? Yeah, a beak there, fucking beaks on the knees.
Maybe if there was like water on Mars, that might lead to life. All right, lads, lunchtime.
I'll say this now, I don't think astrobiology is that recession-proof.
No, it's a weird thing. There was a big article the other month about a lot of astrobiologists because they thought they might have just discovered evidence of potential life on Venus.
Wow.
And then they didn't.
No, here's the cool thing about astrobiology. It's got all the fun bits of space without any of the maths, which is why I want to do it.
That's the fun bits.
No, but
do they deal with like when we discover mysterious radio signals and shit in space? Because the one of them recently went there.
Well, no,
China.
No.
Yeah, China went, we found aliens. I mean, it could be cosmic background radiation, but it's aliens.
No, astrobiologists don't do radio signals, John. They're dealing with chemical composition.
So they didn't do the one kind of, vaguely interesting bit of evidence that might point to something out there.
Sorry. Yeah. There's radio transmissions all the fucking time. They're not fucking aliens.
Oh, John, do you know about the WOW signal?
I don't know, but it sounds really exciting.
Have we ever talked about the WOW? I feel like we've talked about the WOW signal on the podcast at some point.
I don't remember, but I do like... My funnest fact about it is the reason it's just called the WOW signal is because someone scribbled on top of the signal, wow.
Yeah, they circled it and went, wow. Basically, it's a signal that is really weird. I don't know if it ever got an explanation, but isn't there a reference to it in GTA 5? In the aliens bit?
So basically, yeah, and whoever's doing that bit of alien research, like these people have got actual evidence that there might be something out there and are working on that. And the astrobiologist sitting next door be like, making shit up.
Contact one about an astrobiologist.
Sorry, astrobiologists are generally the people who are like, all the cool spectroscopy work is often done by astrobiologists.
Yeah, which is like the boring bit, isn't it? It's like
the boring bit.
The sun's actually...
That's where you shove a camera up an alien's arse.
No, that's where you look at the colours of the spectrogram of light that comes through an exoplanet's atmosphere, and that way you can figure out what its atmosphere is made of.
That was the original lyrics to Pocahontas' Colour of the Wind. It was Colour of the Ship Matcher said. Bit too long, though, they had to cut it down.
Spectroscopy is rad, shut up.
And speaking of space
you know what?
horror,
I'm going to give you that bit sounds more interesting than just making shit up.
Astrobiology isn't making shit up. Astrobiology, the Curiosity rover is mainly done by astrobiologists. Like,
I'm stuck in a fucking conversation. I mean, I was an astrophysicist. Like, I can't really speak.
What's the thing?
I
want to do astrophysics, but I'm bad at math, so astrobiology.
I was doing astro and nanophysics. That was my astrophysics with a degree in
nanophysics. Oh god!
You see, that makes me think that if there was a disaster on a spaceship, you'd be useful.
No, I'd be useless. Fix it. If there's a disaster on like a sun or like an atom, fucking call me. But anything
there's a disaster on an atom.
He wasn't studying engineering, John.
It's a disaster on an atom. The atom.
What atom-based, just generally day-to-day atom-based disasters are there?
Dr.
Hello, 911. Yes, I need an atom ambulance. I'm having an atom emergency.
Well, I'm sorry.
There's a bit of hydrogen outside my house. It's been hanging out there for an hour. It won't leave.
Yeah, well, sorry, last time an atom exploded, it blew up a bit in Japan. So I'm just saying, sometimes...
So are you saying to me that if you'd have finished your degree, you could have went back in time and stopped Hiroshima?
Maybe Nagasaki.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. It's just an atom emergency.
Okay, so what we're establishing here, just to be clear, is if you hadn't dropped out, right, me and John would be homeless and dead, and you would have also stopped Hiroshima.
But instead you're here doing this podcast today.
Because you're implying quite a lot of rest on your shoulder either way. Really?
I feel like you made some terrible decisions like a decade back, Dan.
I did, yeah. I regret it now. Yeah. Having this conversation feels like an apt punishment for dropping out of astrophysics. It's like you're all talking about an ex. That's what it feels like. It's just like, oh yeah, and I'm like, I don't care what she's doing. Fuck off. It's great.
I mean, a little bit.
I write a fucking sci-fi novel, mate. I'm up to my fucking balls in time travel.
You write a fucking sci-fi novel that's trying to be at least semi-accurate.
I hit the word count. What they said I shouldn't go over. Do you know how far through the book it is?
Yep.
44%.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's had a lot of conversations about this, but like, Daniel, don't go over the word count. We can't sell it. And he's like, okay, wink. And they're like, no, don't
That's
wink.
the point where you just kind of, put in a cliffhanger to be continued. Congratulations, you've already got the second book plot
Well, that's
now.
it. And they're like, no, it can't be. It has to be one book the size of fucking the entire Lord of the Rings series in a single book.
It's the first draft.
And the publisher's like, don't do that. And it's like, okay, wink. Like, stop winking. No, wink.
Okay, wink.
Well, the
you're gonna have it out in 2022, right? Yeah, wink. It's definitely gonna be finished this year. Wink.
Really, the publisher doesn't listen to this podcast.
Wait, what? They won't. They would have left it all the fucking science shit.
No, I regularly have updates with the publisher, and they're like, how's it going? And I'm like, it's definitely long. And they're like, oh no. And I'm like, yep.
I gave them the first 100 pages, which is Act 1.
Yeah.
So, by that count, it should be a 400-page book. That makes sense, right?
Yeah. Still long.
Unfortunately, it's looking like it might be a 500 to 600-page book.
Yeah.
It's long, but it's good.
You remember how the editing phase of Fuck Yeah didn't actually take that long? I'm excited for it to go to the editors and it take about fucking 9 months to actually...
There's 2 plot points I'm ever so slightly worried about when it comes to the editing. Because there's 2 things that happen that they're going to go, you can't say that in a book. And I'm going to be like, but I have to.
In fairness, they did let you publish a book with fuck on the cover. So I feel
this is worse. Like, this is...
Wasn't it F star CK though?
No, nope. I tried to push for the star, and Danny was adamant he wanted it to say fuck, which is why lots of bookstores, especially in America, wouldn't sell it.
Lol.
It really struggled in America because a lot of bookstores refused to even stock it.
Yeah,
which is very
hilarious.
Funny.
I mean, it had to say fuck. I thought that was so funny.
Oh, I agree. But it's definitely like, had an issue on its sales ability.
Yeah, but like that's not my problem. That's the fucking prude's fault, innit? Yeah. Next one, I've changed the title. It's not called the Paradox. It's called Wow, look at these tits, and it's just got massive tits on the front of it.
What's 2 tits, but like they're also superimposed with black holes. The nipples on the event horizon.
I'll tell you what, right? Just any time people are suggesting anything, because the cover's still in a bit of flux, shall we say. I've got what I want it to look like.
Oh, it's not being done by Chibnall, is it?
It's not that kind of flux, mercifully. But I've got what I want it to look like. Me and Rebecca worked on a thing, and they're like, yeah, that's not going to sell. And I'm like, yeah, but it looks pretty. So there's lots of like conversation stuff happening, and every single time they're like, how about this? I'm like, it's got a fucking clock in it. I don't want a clock in a time travel cover. It's the worst thing. If it has a clock on it, just know that I gave up the fight and I'm gonna kill myself. Like that's the the sign. You know, like when people are gonna kill themselves, the sign is they start like giving away all their shit and stuff and like going like, oh, maybe I'll see you later. That's the signs you got to look out for. For me, clock on the front cover of Paradox, I'm going to offer myself.
Jesus
I've given up on life. All right?
Jesus Christ.
It's not going to have a fucking clock on the front of it, because it's not for fucking idiots.
Jesus Christ.
That's the...
Jesus Christ.
Have you ever come across the game Time Tenshi?
No.
You may or may not know, I deliberately try and find the dumbest, most ridiculous, like, visual novel romance game every year for a Valentine's Day video.
Oh, you're going to like Hooked on You then, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. So, one of them I found...
Wait, Matt, do you know about Hooked on You?
No.
It's a Dead by Daylight or whatever the fuck it is, that horror slashy game. It's a spin-off of that's a romance dating game.
Nice.
Oh.
But I think Time Tenshi could actually help you fulfill your goal here if you just kind of take some notes out of the book. Because Time Tenshi is a game about, they invented a time machine, right? But every time a woman uses it, her boobs get bigger.
Oh, that is a big plot in the Paradox. That's one of the two that
that's the entire game. You have to keep going through time to like chase someone else who's also got a time machine because they've got to like fix history and protect history. But also the tits keep getting bigger every time they're done.
Sorry, if this is a plot point in the Paradox, does that mean time travel gets used for top surgery?
Yeah. Actually, in my book, it just slowly makes you transition. The more you use it, the more you transition. So they had to get people who wanted to transition. That's the whole plot of the book.
Science. I mean... I don't like the sound of that dating game, John. I'm going to be honest.
It might well be what I get to next year. I've had my eye on it for a while.
Have you?
I think it sounds like
I've
a great
had my
nonsense
eye on this
game.
for a while. I've never heard you say that fucking phrase before.
Josh, so what if in that game you go back in time and force yourself, the old version of yourself, to have breast reduction surgery? What happens to your current size titties?
Well, I guess that, plays by standard Paradox rules.
That's not a paradox if it's a locked-in event.
Yeah.
Well, that depends by what rules of time travel we're operating.
Well, that's the thing. What I'm asking you there is what's the rules of time travel?
Well, this is why I've got to play Time Tenshi to figure out what rules of time travel are being applied to the boob machine. The boob time window.
Boob time window.
Exactly. Something goes wrong with the time window.
On the TARDIS, there's just loads of tits floating about. The boob time window.
The trailer literally has, in a row, 3 statements that are asked in like a dramatic fashion, which is, can power over time be entrusted to humans? What effect does time travel have on the girls' bodies? And what happens when the time window goes wrong? Just as, the 3 dramatic things the game's going to answer. And apparently, according to the reviews, it ends on a cliffhanger. And there was never a sequel.
Oh,
so we never get to find out. Oh, fuck, they've released a sequel since. Holy shit, there's Time Tenshi 2.
No, Daniel, that's what you do. If your book's too long, you just cut it down and end up with a cliffhanger that's never resolved.
Sorry, I'm not The Hobbit. I don't want to fuck...
Oh shit, they're already halfway to your book. One of the spin-offs is called Time Tenshi Paradox Episode 1.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. I don't.
There's an entire franchise! The time-travelling girls return! And presumably having just returned, their boobs are even bigger now!
I like, Daniel, that you've worried a lot about
it's true, actually. The images of the girls in the trailer and Steam, they clearly have bigger boobs than the trailer for 1. So there is continuity of boob size between these games.
Yeah, but
they are honouring the core principle.
Am I right?
There is boob continuity here.
Do they address it as the real medical problem it is? I mean, do they all start getting back pain and and then they struggle to find bras that fit them? Like, does it accurately portray that?
I mean, very clearly the boobs are not well fitting in the bras the women are wearing. So yes,
so
clearly that is.
I can't. Okay.
Yeah. Like, there's an element of bulging going on here.
How many times do you reckon this sound effect is used in the game?
Probably not at all, because these games tend to be very lazily put together, where there's the minimum... It's just background royalty-free music, and then the static images that have been drawn, and that's it.
I have just been sent a message.
Oh?
Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, there's not relevance to it? Do you want us to talk about time tits?
It's actually about the titties.
Nice.
Well, I'm doing it now, person I'm messaging. So they're like, I don't need it now. Bunch of pricks who's sending me this message right now.
About tits?
Alright, hang on, I've got to type it
I like the idea, right, like time tits. Right.
Yeah.
Have you played Blinks the Time Sweeper?
No.
Blinks the Time Sweeper 2 exists, right? And in Blinks the Time Sweeper 2, it has a full furry character creator. Now.
So does Sonic Frontiers. Wait, the last one. Sonic Frontiers looks like shite, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sonic Forces, that was the one.
But it's the thing, right? You take Blinks the Time Sweeper 2 and you combine it with the game you were just saying, John, and there you have the perfect game for perverted furries. Big-titted cat time hoover users.
You see, I'm actually going to be... I'm starting to be suspicious of the motives of the gentleman who invented the time window. Because, as far as I can tell from reading the plot synopsis, the time window is harmless and has no effect on men who go through it. But women, the boobs keep getting bigger. Yet his entire team, or his entire away team that he sends to fix the past, is made up of women.
You're telling me,
I don't know. I mean, it could be a coincidence.
Sounds like he's a fucking smart boy.
It could be a coincidence, absolutely. They could just be the most qualified people for the job to be the away team. However, I am suspicious there is an ulterior motive.
John, you're suspicious that maybe a male might be a pervert.
Yes, I am.
That's a very extreme accusation, and that's very rare occurrence.
Yeah.
Never happens in media either. You know, it's always, every man in the world is always very clean and pure.
I'm back. What are we talking about? I heard clean and pure.
Clean.
What are we talking about?
I don't remember. I just got...
According to the summary of Time Tenchi Paradox Episode 1, the spin-off, the Time Tenchi series is already famous for its engaging plot and exciting story.
Okay, sorry. Good. Why do they call it engaging plot and not engorging plot? Come on, guys. Put at least that effort in.
Daniel, can I ask a brief question?
Yes, darling, I'm back.
Because I just got a text.
Yeah.
And I have to ask. I'm assuming when I ask this question, you'll understand what I'm referring to.
Uh-huh.
Why are you married to a round child?
Oh, you got the same text that I did.
Yeah.
That sounds bad out of context.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought it would.
So I'm not going to respond. But there's... This is like no Vince McMahon thing. Not in trouble. It's a silly thing.
Yeah.
Have you seen how fucked Vince McMahon is? He's resigned. He's gone.
What?
Vince McMahon's gone.
What do you mean Vince McMahon's gone?
He's stepped down as CEO.
He runs it. I thought he owned it.
You know, he stepped down. He's still doing creative, but Stephanie's taken over.
Oh.
This shit that's come out about him over the last few days has been so bad he's had to step down as CEO.
He paid $3 million in hush money to a paralegal who quit after they had an affair.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh. Anyway, sorry. That was just a thing I saw.
Okay, I'm going to drop some continuity for you into the chat here.
Oh, is this things we can't display?
Definitely not. No.
Let me have you always send me nudes during this, John. Is there something about
not nudes?
Oh, John's a big nudie
You've sent me big titty boys before, big titty girls.
Mm-hmm.
When we were looking at the Bethesda mods.
Hang on, I'm just sending you the continuity right now. There we go. I've just popped that into the chat that we have. So that's the same character in the first game and then the last game 4 games later. So as you can see, there is boob continuity.
Well, you've done it the wrong way around. It looks like a boob getting smaller.
Yes.
You know what?
I have, yes.
Sorry. I just say, I really enjoy this chat because it is just, there's like, only occasionally posted in whenever someone's in here. And it is just like...
So as you can see, there is the character of Michelle starts off with, quite large but still reasonable breast. But by the 4th game has gone, yes, there is clear character progression.
Can I just
say, also point out, I know you've been staring at the titties, but the old man has got a lot younger in the future.
Maybe he gets younger when he goes through the time window.
Maybe.
Sorry,
hang on. Wait, what the fuck? Okay. I was just reading the lines. It says, Gramps, I'm picking up unusual distortion from an unidentified time period. And I was like, oh, I wonder where that game's going.
Why has she got
also,
I guess it's into the time window with you, Michelle.
Oh, God. Why has she got a skirt? Is that a skirt or a belt?
It could be either, really. I mean, what's also interesting is, after being pretty positively reviewed, when we hit Time Tenchi Paradox Episode 2, it becomes mixed. Like, something's gone wrong. Like, what have they done wrong? Oh no. Okay, here we go. Recommended. I'm a huge fan of the Time Tenchi series, but this episode misses a lot of what the Time Tenchi fans keep coming back for. Both Kaio and Rose get almost no screen time. We only get one BE, which I think stands for breast expansion scene, and the rest was story development. Oh no, guys! Episode 2 started taking the lore seriously and there wasn't enough breast expansion, and the fans rioted! Because there was only one breast expansion scene and the rest was plot. And then we got review bombed because there was too much plot.
Hashtag male gamers.
Oh, dear.
I mean, I like that though, because obviously, you know, Horizon 2, whatever it was called, you know, that got bombed because fucking it was like shit. Aloy has hair. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me that the boobs being less big is a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a game made for the people who think Aloy's fucking got hair. And, it's unrealistic. Why isn't she a porn star? They scream.
A hilarious part about that story is it started to get unreview bombed and people took their negative reviews away because there was a glitch in the photo mode that let you see her tits.
Jesus fucking Christ. Wait, when you say let you see her tits, are we talking that game, that fucking David Cage game where they just made a full nude model? Or are we talking like Barbie
and they just released it and that was yes.
I don't know, I didn't look into it that much. But our resident breast expert John might have something to say about this if he's... No,
okay, I've found an interesting screenshot here that makes me very curious about how far this game treats its boob continuity.
You said that and John didn't go, he just went, yes, I will answer the great... Boob spurt.
Okay, here's what I found. In time
Let's not... Whoa. We're going to stop here. You cannot use the phrase boob spurt.
Boob spurt.
That doesn't sound like what you think it sounds like.
In Time Tenchi 2, which is in the middle of the franchise, there is a screenshot that indicates the entire away team does not go through the time window. Instead, you pick, the booby hologram tells you to pick which girl goes through the time window, indicating only one of their boobs is going to get bigger, and yet there is clear continuity between the games. So... does that mean, like, the game checks your previous save data so that the correct girl has the correct size boobs as you move forward through the game? Because there's clearly continuity going on here. Or, like, oh, this is fascinating.
Why are you so surprised by the idea that a game might check a previous game save file? That's been a thing for...
Well, that's a lot of effort for, like, a game with 20 reviews about what if time travel made you boob.
How much effort do you think checking a save file is?
You know the Ninja Games Tenchu? Wasn't one of those Tenchu time something?
Tenchu time tits?
What?
Tenchu time tits?
What?
Tenchu time tits?
Tenchu time, sorry. I was talking to someone else. What? I got distracted. Tenchu time of the Assassins, there it is. Tenchu Time of the Assassins. So Time Tenchu is different to Tenchu Time of the Assassins.
Wait, what?
Sorry, I have to share one screenshot with you, which is just it's somehow just hilarious, so wonderful.
Oh. By the way, John, that earlier picture you sent, it was like, oh, you definitely can't show that. It's very tame, all things considering.
Yes.
I'll describe this picture. It's somebody called Rose.
Yeah.
She has one green eye and one orange eye.
I think amber is the polite term.
Oh, she's got one amber eye and one orange eye.
Yeah.
And she's wearing about a square inch of clothing across her entire body.
Not clothing, armour.
She's standing outside a shit version of Stonehenge.
Doesn't have enough stones.
I'm getting a redding. It's coming from Stonehenge. Well, that's not Stonehenge. And instead of breasts, she appears to have two massive eggs.
Well, yeah, she just went through the time window, so her boobs have got bigger, which is why her armour don't fit her no more.
John, you point something interesting out. Right, you mentioned not enough stones. Is this in the Halloween franchise continuity?
Oh, God.
Because in Halloween 3, the main plot point is someone stealing bits of Stonehenge to kill kids with.
Mm-hmm.
And Did you say Halloween?
Halloween.
You were saying Halloween.
Halloween,
yeah. Halloween.
What? Doesn't matter. Point is...
Halloween. I thought Halloween was like there's a tiny kid who's a hologram or some shit and they just go around stabbing people.
Point is, in the third film, right, they were like, fuck Michael Myers, right? We're just going to do its own thing. And it was meant to be this spin-off where it just was various horror things that were happening around the Halloween thing, right? But it failed and they just went back to Mike Myers. But was Halloween 4 meant to be this game?
Yeah. I think Halloween 4 is this podcast.
Like the tits grow up and then they just want to eat people.
The tits grow up.
Yeah, they grow and then they go... Nom, nom,
just
nom,
a sentient tit hovering around.
Well, could you imagine
people.
if each of those tits got a mouth kind of like, what's it, from Little Shop of Horrors?
Wait, Aubrey 2.
Yeah, the mouth, like, they just become like Aubrey 2s, but tits.
Are you now just remembering that Belly's Gonna Get You advert that played a lot in, like, the 90s and 2000s?
Belly's Gonna Get You?
Yeah,
I remember that. I can't remember what it was for.
I can't remember what it was for, but it was like...
presumably some form of snack food.
Yeah, there was a big belly that started attacking and chasing people in the street.
Well, it is a big belly. I found the ad.
Yeah.
It was uploaded to YouTube
But what was it for?
years ago. So it doesn't look like a belly. That looks like a fucking big arse with a big arsehole on it. But it's a belly button, but it does look like an arse.
Have you seen... Sorry, actually, fuck.
Oh, it was for Reebok. It was for trainers, because you were supposed to run to get rid of, like, your belly.
Oh. Have you seen the review bombing of The Boys? Because The Boys Series 3 is getting review bombed because it has the audacity
If it's something that's on this episode that's just come out today, do not tell me. I've not seen today's episode
I've seen today's episode, but I'm not saying it. From the first episode. You know the scene in the first episode that would make, you know...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know which one you mean.
It would make some men uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Especially if
But it's very effective kind of gross comedy body horror. It does its job. It's
wonderful stuff. But the amount of review bombs that are like, a tiny man crawls up this guy's ass. And I'm like, did you not know what that was?
What?
There's a point where men are so straight, they get really gay. Have you noticed this?
Wait, I need some context here because I've not watched it.
Okay, you know how everybody wanted Ant-Man to go up Thanos' arse and then go big and explode him from the inside out?
Yeah, classic.
They basically did that in The Boys.
Oh.
But with someone's cock hole.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, right up your urethra.
Okay,
yeah.
I've been getting into the deep lore of Time Tenchi here. I've skipped past. I'm now into the video things. Okay,
I should have guessed. Remember we saw that giant cock, John?
I should have guessed this. However, I believe part of the Time Tenchi lore is that when the girls travel through time and the boob expansion occurs as a result of going through the time window, I believe they enjoy the process. It looks like they're having quite a nice time when the process occurs.
Be a bitch if I only did one side, though, wouldn't it?
Yes. I believe that it looks like they are enjoying themselves.
Reaching for the keyboard to buy this game immediately. Just go quickly.
You should have been in my stream the other day. A fucking bit of furniture fell over. It smashed my Lego space shuttle in this almighty crash.
But I'm going to suggest that you stop before you get to Time Tenchi Paradox, the spin-off episode 2, because clearly that one had nothing but story and not enough boobs.
Not enough boobs.
Not enough boobs. Well, clearly there are huge boobs, because the boobs, thanks to continuity, are huge left over from last time. John, but they didn't get bigger enough.
I'll be honest, I don't have any plans to play it.
I'm going to do the entire franchise next Valentine's Day.
Yeah, of course you will. Because you are, right? Thing with John, right, is John's always like, oh, I'm family friendly, look at me. But John, out of all of us, he's the most perverted. Let's be honest.
I've literally watched porn on my channel.
No, this is true, but you were like, ugh, ladies with testicles? Ugh.
Testicles?
That's exactly what you were like, ugh, look at all of these genitals all over the place. Oh, look at these boobs flopping about, you know?
That's the fun joke. It's the normally people play these games because like, oh, and all that. There was that one that was like, I can't remember, it was a VR one where I basically played it as a vicar. Well, actually, it was a little girl, so I wasn't playing it like a vicar. But I was sort of just like going, oh no, I can't possibly. Oh no. If anything, I roleplayed John during those things.
Yeah, but as we've established, that's not role-playing, John.
Well, John is secretly the most perverted one out of all of us.
He had
somebody come in and mop him down when he's finished. We all know this now. That was the
blocky world.
Mop. Sorry, I could just.
I'm going into the entire back library of the same studio now.
Oh God.
Don't have you tried? Right, maybe.
Oh, that's why it's a blocky world filled with girls. Right, some people get stuck inside Minecraft VR. Okay. And can't just take the helmet off for some reason.
Isn't that the plot of the Nerd Cube comic?
Yeah, but I think their boobs are bigger. I feel like I think this developer might exclusively create stuff that's for people who are into already big boobs that get bigger as we go.
You missed a calling, Daniel, to make your Minecraft comic into a porn comic in the end.
Well, they're also flat-chested in Minecraft. It's pretty difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, but
I feel like the world is blocky, but on this occasion, the girls in question are not.
Big blocky tits, it's just 2 boxes. I mean, remember that fucking, how to job mock-up tits? Yes, please. It's just 2 big blocks coming out, innit?
I just want to share one bit of key art, which please pay attention to the cleavage of the girl on the right.
I don't even see it here in this bit of tertiary evidence. I don't see her tits on the right. Rather.
Because she appears to be storing her explosives there.
Where else do you put them?
Those are dynamite tits.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of women with larger breasticles do store things in them. I don't think that's inaccurate.
Not in them, but
I think the problem is the same studio has attempted to make a handful of games that are not about big boobs that get bigger and have just been review bombed completely. Because people just like, well, this isn't the boob. There's no boobs in this game. The boobs don't get bigger at all.
Is this like the origin of Activision Blizzard? Do you reckon this developer goes back in time and eventually becomes Blizzard?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's
and just does all those fucking pose shots of all the women in Overwatch being like, they all need to be a little bigger. I think a little more.
But then they get that diversity wheel up, and it's like, but instead of diversity stuff, it's like bigger titties, bigger feet. I don't know if I can know what people are into. People like feet, right? That's a thing.
Yeah,
John,
bigger titties, bigger feet, more accurate toe physics.
Yeah. I think actually the foot fetish is quite a lot of people. I don't get it myself, but I think it's actually one of the larger fetishes.
Oh my god, you know how I've talked about Fallout nude mods before, right?
So yes, we've had this horrific discussion.
And I am very much aware of them, because obviously I mod Bethesda games all the time, and you cannot fucking get... Yes. Like, if you arrange anything by most downloaded or highest rated, they're right fucking there.
Yeah, and I also would like to point out that because you fucking linked me to some of them, when I went on Nexus Mods to try and get some mods for Fallout 4, I was inundated with fucking, high-resolution vagina mods.
No, but here's the notable thing, right? A lot of these mods, like high-poly body mods, right? Because one of the notable things, feet in like Skyrim and stuff like that, they're just like a little block, right? A big block. And when I'm looking at some of these high poly body mods, the weirdly large amount of pictures, like, look how detailed the toes are. And I'm like what?
On the topic of toes, I ripped one of my toenails completely off this week.
Oh, Daniel.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is getting dark here.
No, it's been damaged for a while because of Lilith. She managed to get a nail between the toe bed and the toenail itself. All the way to the back. It's been just going grey the whole time, and it's a bit of it's just fell off. So now I've got
I found another game by the same studio.
It'll never go back.
This one's about extremely large boobed pirates
who
travel round islands meeting big boobed monster girls to capture them, right?
Sea of Cleaves!
So that's what they're doing. However,
that was good.
It has
Give
been
me some credit for Sea of Cleaves.
It's been negatively reviewed.
That's the name of the podcast.
It's been negatively reviewed because there's not enough slavery in it.
Oh my.
Like, literally, like, the top review says, which is not recommended, says, here's my main problem. They don't successfully capture any of the monster girls to sell. They encounter various monsters, and they simply fail to capture them, because they, A, let them escape, or B, the crew felt bad about capturing them, and decided to release their targets rather than selling them.
Steam hasn't really got
I think
better.
they should change their job, because they suck at capturing monsters.
Ever since
so basically, because there is not enough slavery and selling of big-boobed monster girls, people bombed this game.
Yeah, no, ever since Steam did that open thing when they were like, no, anyone can just upload any game now. I don't think
Jesus Christ.
I don't really think it's improved.
Not enough slavery.
Not enough tits in the sequel. Not enough misogyny in this one. 0 out of 10.
While I appreciated the tits, there isn't enough sexual slavery in this game.
Jesus
not recommended.
Fucking Christ.
The fuck is happening?
Just watch porn. Just watch porn.
Clearly, for some people, not enough porn has, like, pirates who go on an adventure to find the big-boobed harpy. And that's true. That is beyond the budget of most porn.
I disagree.
Like, if your thing is, I want big-boobed pirates to go and capture a big-boobed harpy, you're going to struggle to find that with actual real-life porn actors and actresses.
I mean, I'm sure there's something somewhere.
It's probably out there.
Probably, yes. Yeah. But, like, it's going to be harder to do.
Yeah, well, there'll be harder for some.
There'll be AI-generated porn before soon. We got all that DALL-E, whatever it's called. Oh,
that's
DALL-E,
so impressive, some of the stuff that comes up with.
Oh, God, you know fucking AI Dungeon?
Yeah.
Oh, God, because I like
that.
They
crippled that game. They crippled it because of the amount of people using it to wank.
Yeah, literally. They had to just change a huge amount of it because people kept being like, now fuck the child. And the game would be like, okay, here's how you brutally fuck the child. And like, the amount of
Jesus Christ.
I did a Twitch stream on it. And literally, I mean, this is years ago before they did anything. And like, I was in a cyberpunk world and it was like, the thing I did, right, it was like you heard noise from your neighbor's garden. Now, okay, go knock on their door. That was the command I gave it. And the game went, okay, you go and knock on her door. A small girl answers. She says hello. You say hello back. You enter into the house. The girl's only 14. You start touching the girl. Then you open the girl's pants and start having sex with the girl. I'm like, why? I just told you.
Is this one of those scenarios where because other people were using it for really creepy shit, typing it in, therefore that's what it learned to try and tell
I just
itself?
wanted to knock on the door. Like, and it was like, you fuck the child. Like...
Because what was the name of that chatbot? Was it Microsoft released a chatbot onto Twitter and within like a day it was spouting the worst things because that's what people were saying to it?
People were just saying Hitler's speeches to it over and over.
Yeah, and it basically just because it's not intelligent, just parrots.
Yeah.
So it algorithmically parrots as best
it can.
Don't worry,
because that Google engineer was like, our AI's come to life. I'm like, no, it hasn't.
Literally, AI Dungeon though, they changed it recently. Because they got a load of flack from all the people who were trying to fuck kids in it, clearly. And it ended up being like, oh, we've made it in such a way now that you can report speech and anything related to children's sexual activity will be completely gone. So I went in the game, I just started playing a normal game, and then you know what my character did without me asking it to be perfectly clear? Fucked a tiny little baby.
Oh, God.
Because apparently it doesn't distinguish between a baby and a child. And I'm like, okay.
It's like a Tesla.
Yeah, it's just like you fuck the baby, and I'm like, stop! I'm not even asking you to. I'm like, just go knock on the person's door, just say hello. You're like, good evening.
I think it's based on your previous search histories. None of that shit's ever happened to me.
But this is the interesting thing. It's the more people who use it for that, the more it'll spout this shit out.
Yeah.
Now, and, like, you can turn on a filter, like a not safe for work filter, but then you can't kill people brutally, which is, like, that's half the point. And, like...
Is that half the point? You can tell any story in the world and you're like, well, if there's no violence, what's the point in telling the story?
Okay, let's be honest, right? When I did my Twitch stream of it, I became a piss god, and I used piss to kill people, and the game just came up with the most excellent descriptions of how one could kill people with piss.
Amazing.
I would type the phrase, you killed them with your piss. And it wrote this entire fucking paragraph, just detailing in a very long-winded fashion how you killed them with piss, which was very funny.
So, John's ruined his credibility today by looking at loads of busty time travelers. Matt's ruined it by fucking children.
The thing is, yes, Steam will be watching what I've been looking at, so my recommendations on Steam for a while are gonna be fucked up. But, like, just consider the last screenshot I just shared with you. Like, clearly there are stakes in Time Tenchi, which is, by the looks of it, that girl is mid-being Back to the Future paradoxed. Alright, there is a girl there who's been Back to the Future. And the big-boobed Rose has gonna have to sort that out. She's gonna have to sort this shit out. Because Kaio's just been fucking Back to the Future.
Sort out Biff Tannen?
I don't know. Well, she's gonna have... I mean, possibly. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm going to guess that the way they sort history is by sex.
Yeah, no, Oh, no.
Like,
only my tits can stop Hitler.
Yes, basically.
Shit, I'm gonna have to rewrite the ending of Paradox now.
Yeah, we're gonna go back in time and smother Hitler in tits. You know.
Smother Hitler in tits.
You know, and and he just, he suffocates to death. In tits.
Yeah. In tits.
In tits. You know, I haven't finished Sniper Elite 5 yet, but I'm assuming that's how it ends.
I mean, I need to play this game just to check if at any point they explain why the entire away team has to be women. and they can't have a single guy. Maybe time travel doesn't work for guys. Maybe only women can use the time window.
Is there not enough straight white male representation in your titty game, John?
Yeah, John, you're complaining too much about there being actual good representation. I'm sorry,
It's not
John.
that good representation. They're all white.
Sorry, John. I'm going to have to cancel you right now. You're cancelled.
John hates women.
That's fair and reasonable.
John hates women. We know this from history.
From history?
Yeah. Previous
history?
No,
you say?
Yeah, no, it's always been out there. But, John, every time John comes on, John's like, I'm a misogynist. And we're like, yeah, we know.
We know, John.
We
know you have the maids.
Yeah.
We know what you do. We know you get up to. But this was supposed to be a fucking E3 special, and we've barely started talking about video games. Yeah. You've been talking about fucking kids.
We've got an app on
E3. It's all gone berserk. What?
Yeah, I feel like if one of us gets cancelled out of today, it really should not be me.
Yeah, it should be Matt.
Why? Yeah, definitely Matt.
Or as we've proven, cancel me, but back in time, and then you two don't even exist.
Oh my God.
But you'd have bigger tits.
Yeah.
Why do they have to be cancelled?
Win. You fucked a baby, Matt.
The game.
That's why you have to be cancelled.
I reported it to the game. The game was like, "Oh, we won't do that again." And I'm like, "Of course, I'm sure you won't." I believe you.
I've never ever shouted "You fucked a baby, Matt." And
hope your windows are open. That was it.
Uh oh. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm at your house all the time, and I don't want to go like, "Good evening, hello, neighbour. I am Matt." And I'm like, "Oh, baby fogger."
Yeah.
Okay, shall we acknowledge the existence of video games quickly?
You've been doing that for 2 hours, John. Just titty-based ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not new ones. I feel like the Time Tenchi franchise is dead after the ill-advised mistake of not enough tits in Paradox spin-off episode 2.
I mean,
they lost the audience at that point.
I mean, look, right? We spoke about Starfield for a bit, then we realised everything else was boring aside from the Justin Roiland game where all the guns talk for some reason.
There's literally a Resident Evil 4 remake.
So,
who cares?
Which I'm not convinced is a good idea.
Resident Evil 4's great, still stands up.
Yeah, it's great. Agree.
The Last of Us getting a remake for some fucking reason.
Now that one's completely fucking pointless. Resident Evil 4, if it's going to get the Resident Evil 2 and 3 treatment, will not just be, hey, it's Resi 4 again. It's going to be something a bit different.
Yeah.
So, like, at the bare minimum, you know what? I thought Resident Evil 2 in particular was pretty bloody good. The remake, I mean. So, like, I think there's a perfectly decent chance they're going to make a perfectly decent game. I just don't think it's going to have the magic of the original Resi 4.
I'm excited for them to remake the shit ones. So,
Code Veronica was not shit, but it does need a remake.
I don't remember that one. Oh, I actually do remember that one. PS2.
It was just a really, really big one. Like, it was set across, like, loads of different maps. Like, you get to fuck off to Antarctica for the final act. And, like, there's multiple different player characters and acts and shit. It's really cool.
I will say, by the way, I've only ever played one Resident Evil game, and I played it for the first time a few weeks ago.
Which one?
7.
Oh.
7 is very good and very scary.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, that's the thingy one, isn't it?
Creepy house dinner party shit, yeah.
Village one, yeah.
I had fun with that. That's not Village.
I think that's probably the single scariest one.
It wasn't that scary.
Oh, did you see?
Okay, well then you'll have no trouble with the rest of them.
I have video game news.
Yeah.
What?
I have video game news.
Okay.
Oh shit! What is it?
Zachtronics is closing down.
What?
That's true. There's one last game, isn't there?
They're doing one last game called Last Call BBS or BB. Yeah, BBS. Yeah, that's it.
Why?
That's it. They're done because I think Zach's gone off to be a teacher.
Oh.
So they got one last game, which is actually 8 games in one, and that's it.
Well, that's sad. Still.
All done. Also,
in a way, it's kind of nice that they get to go out with one last big game that they want to do, rather than eventually just having all the good people leave the company and it kind of limping onwards, releasing shit like BioWare.
Yeah.
Or anything.
I mean, hopefully the next Mass Effect will be decent, but I'm not hugely full of confidence that there's anyone left at BioWare who's got too much idea how to put together a decent single-player RPG.
Are you not excited by the Dead Space remake?
No, who the fuck gives a fuck about fucking sci-fi horror?
Is the Dead Space remake different from the Callisto Protocol? Because they look very similar.
If we're doing...
I feel like that's the same game being released under 2 names.
There's like 8 games that are all the fucking same on that thing. If we're talking about something that we can remove from history that would wipe us all out, fucking Zach not making his early games would be the one to fuck us all up. Because he made Infiniminer, which Notch then literally just stole to make Minecraft in Java, which was worse. But Infiniminer basically gave us Minecraft, which gave us things like YouTubers and Fortnite and the extreme popularity of video games that we're currently in.
Yeah, I'm not convinced the lack of Minecraft would mean that gaming YouTube would cease to exist in the timeline.
Very different.
I feel like it would have just popped up.
I don't think it would be as it wouldn't have boomed as much as it did. I think that era really was like Minecraft was the one that really brought a lot of it.
All right, everybody, get your slightly larger than you need bras. We're going into the time window.
It would be a very different landscape if there was no Minecraft. I will say.
Yeah. And no.
But I'm telling you, this is the last time we're using the boob window to just verify what changes to the gaming landscape would do to the YouTube landscape.
Think about it, right. Without Minecraft...
Eventually our boobs are going to get too big.
Without Minecraft, you don't even get games like Factorio or Satisfactory.
Without Minecraft, you don't get early access.
Yeah.
Oh, someone would have invented early access for a different reason.
Probably, but would it have got us big? Because it only worked because Minecraft was really popular and everybody wanted to play it.
And these big open world creative games only got really big because of Minecraft.
Yeah. It would because of Zach, the gaming industry is entirely different. Even if you don't care about these games, which I don't understand how you wouldn't. Opus Magnum, Exapunks, they're all fucking amazing.
See, I'm bad at them, and that's why I don't play them, but I respect them heavily.
Terrible at them. I finished Opus Magnum in my fucking drawer. Where is it? Where's the fucking thing? Where is it? It's in this fucking drawer somewhere. There it is. I've got an envelope. This envelope. Because I brought the physical version of Exapunks.
Oh, that envelope.
And the envelope is a secret envelope that you open when you get to a point in the game. I've not got to the point in the game where you open the fucking envelope yet. I've had this envelope for years. I don't know what's in it. What happens if
you bought the digital version?
If it was the physical version. He always does a physical... Well, not always, but he does like physical like limited runs of games.
So, but really is the gameplay different because that reveal can't work with a digital version?
No, I think it'll give you like if you... I mean... The game requires you to print out magazines. I mean, you can reference them as a PDF, but it's best to print them out so you can reference them and learn from that. But the physical edition actually had the magazines printed. So there's stuff like, there's little bits and pieces that kind of drag you into the world a little bit more. But it might just be like, you've beaten the game. Here's a little like fucking set of stickers that you can put on stuff. You know, it's a little reward like that. But I don't know what's in it, and I don't want anyone to spoil it. I want to learn.
I'm going to work under the assumption that point in the game never comes, and like the envelope is just there to torment you. You'll get to the end of the game, and the game will never have told you, and you'll assume, fuck, I must have missed like an optional side objective. You'll have to play the entire game again, it still won't show up, and there's just nothing in the envelope. It's just to torment you.
That sounds about right, I must admit. I'm not gonna...
That'd be very funny.
I think he's doing another physical. I haven't checked, but I think he's doing another physical. But they do sell out very quickly, and he always does really limited numbers because it's just like a really small team. Might just be one guy. I don't know. But I'm going to really miss Sectronics. They made some incredible... Like Opus Magnum, I think, is the best puzzle game ever made.
Oh.
Because it just fucking deserves it. It's just so... Because there's no... It's a puzzle game where there's no right answer. You just have to make the thing work in any way that you possibly can. And if that is an absolute fucking monstrosity, then it doesn't matter. You've solved it. Like, you'll be graded on how many bits you use, how big of an area you use, how much money it costs, how quickly it runs. I think not the first one, but those three, you know. And so there's sort of like a bit of competition there if you want it, but if you want to ignore that, you can just make the fucking machine work and go to the next level. And I love that. That is incredible puzzle design. Plus, the art style of it is just so... It's just perfect. It's a perfect game.
I will say...
It's wonderful.
We're talking about, like, there being... If it's one person. I mean, when I look at the support page on Zachtronics, all the support emails are just Zach at Zachtronics.
Yeah.
They all just... It just says, if you're having any problems, just Zach at Zachtronics.
Email Zach.
Older games, contact Zach. Space Chem, contact Zach. Is the game crashing? Contact Zach. Yeah.
He's probably just sick of emails. That's why he wants to become a teacher.
I mean, maybe.
So you can just tell the kids, don't fucking email me outside of school hours, you little shits.
Oh, it's actually funny. On the topic of video games and space, The Last Starfighter has been announced.
The Last Starfighter?
What, is it like the The game of the film?
That's the film. Wait, The Last Starship. That's the one. It's called The Last Starship. I'm confused.
I was about to say, that would be a fucking surprising license acquisition by somebody.
I think of The Last Starfighter. In my show video that I've already written, I say that Zach's actually probably been called up in a la The Last Starfighter.
There we go. Yes, The Last Starfighter is just older than me, so it's pretty fucking old.
Yeah, it's Prison Architect mixed with FTL, isn't it?
Yeah, that's The Last Starship.
Yeah, that's
what got announced. Was it's the next game from Prison Architect devs? They're making FTL. They're making Prison Architect in space, but you could control multiple starships at a time and give them all different purposes, and basically build up a fleet that you can then explore procedurally generated shit and answer rescue calls and stuff. It feels like it's got a bit of Star Trek in there you could do.
But like Star Trek if it was a giant space prison Hulk.
Well, it's not a prison because it's just you're controlling all the people in the same way and building all the bits and designing.
To boldly go where no slave ship has ever gone before.
I bet you can make a slave ship in it.
To explore brand new worlds and either drop off the prisoners who are causing too much trouble or enslave new ones if we need more people to run in the giant hamster wheels that power our ships.
Can we stop talking about slaves?
It's all just got a little bit darker than the original Star Trek vision, I think.
It's Discovery's vision. Oh, God. I've mentioned some games. Fuck it, I'm done.
That's games. 2 games.
I mentioned loads. I mentioned 100 games. I don't know. Fuck it.
Stray's got a cat in it, so that's good.
Got a cat in it?
What's got a cat in it?
Yeah, Stray.
Oh, yeah, that was
It's got a cat and sad robots. That's the game. Yeah, but it's actually coming out soon. What good game? It's coming out like a month. It's finally out.
A load of good stuff was in Wholesome Games. Oh, actually, didn't the new PS Plus come out in the US?
It's what?
The new PS Plus came out in the US, didn't it?
Yes.
Which is going to have...
Do we not get it?
No, we get it later.
23rd for us, I think it is. I think Sony said they want to give it to me.
Yeah, they said they were going to give it early, and then I haven't heard from them again, so...
Fair enough.
Classic.
Just want to play.
Apparently they announced an Aliens game. That's normally a good shit show to keep an eye on. Those are never good.
It's an isometric.
There was one that was good and then never again.
Isometric tacticsy or just isometric shooter kind of one. Yeah.
I just there's something about. I mean, I sat watching that fucking Xbox show and the PC gaming show for the half we watched, and there's just nothing that inspired me aside from 2 games which I thought were interesting to look at but not good.
Yeah.
And then Wholesome Games just
What was that game that was announced in the Bethesda showcase? It looked a bit like Dishonored. What was it called? That looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Not Torchlight, 'cause that's an unrelated franchise. Fuck, what was it called?
Wait.
Whatever it is, they were so embarrassed about it, they haven't even put it on like the page on Xbox where they were talking about the showcase. For fuck's sake, guys, it's probably the most interesting. Flintlock!
Oh! The one I kept saying, if you've got a game called Flintlock, it should be about pirates.
And it vaguely looks like it's got like all sorts of different like mythologies all blended together, and there's clearly guns involved.
Sorry,
it looks very colourful.
Saying it's a load of different things blended together.
Colourful island Caribbean Dishonored open world thing. I'm there for that.
It just kind of looks like nothing. I mean, the fights look so...
It looks like a giant technicolored pirate has to use guns to murder God in a Dishonored universe. How the fuck does that look like nothing to you?
You can explain a game that sounds amazing, but it looks boring.
No, it doesn't. It looks like a magic pirate killing gods.
So what? Every game's got magic pirates killing God in nowadays.
No, very few games have magic pirates killing gods.
Nah.
That's every JRPG.
You're a tough audience.
Every JRPG. That's every JRPG.
Here's the problem. I feel like I've become aggressively even more cynical about games than ever.
I think the AAA industry... You know what I think I'm at? I'm at a point, really, where the AAA industry, I've played it all before. But there's a few things... No, I'm not going to say... there's a few things that come out that I'm blown away by. You know, there's some... Like, you get a God of War, you get an Elden Ring, and you go... Yeah, this is
wow, her boobs get bigger every time she goes through the time window. Is there any end to this?
Oh my god!
Like eventually, is she like going to not be able to fit through the time window anymore because her boobs are too big? What do we do then?
Sorry, you're on a fucking loop. Have you gone back in time to the start of this podcast? If that's what's happening. And we just, let's talk about fucking
my boobs appear to be about the same size as they were, so probably not.
Jesus Christ.
What was I saying? I got ADHD. I don't remember when an idiot interrupts me.
AAA.
Fucking hell.
I feel like AAA games.
AAA, yeah. The AAA game industry, like, so much of it I don't give a shit about. I'm never going to play another fucking Call of Duty or any shit like that. I'm like, I'm done with that. You know, I'm done with that. I'm not going to, unless I get, like, an itch for one. Like, I don't give a fuck. So I'm looking for the new shit. That's why I think the Wholesome Direct was so much fun, because, yeah, there's a lot of fun and crafting games in there, but there's new ideas in there. And it's always been the case, but I think more so now, AAA industry is really homogenizing what it means and how it is, and I just don't give a fuck about the majority of AAA games. I mean, but even, like, Diablo Immortal, that mobile phone one that just came out, there's a guy called Quinn69, nice, on Twitch, who's been streaming it, and he's been spending money trying to get a legendary gem. Do you know how much money he's spent so far trying to get one single legendary gem from a drop?
I'm going to say $2,000.
He's in New Zealand. So it'll be New Zealand.
2,000 New Zealand. 2,500 New Zealand dollars.
Okay, Matt.
Well, I know the answer.
What's the answer?
Well, it's like 10 grand, isn't it?
No, 22,000 New Zealand dollars as of last night.
Fucking
Jesus
hell.
Christ.
Which is about £11,000 of actual money.
Jesus. Well, he's not got a thing, has he?
Not a single one after all that money. And there's a level of hideous monetization that they're getting away with. Because of course they fucking... I mean, Diablo Immortal's got the lowest score ever on Metacritic. Ever. As regard to users. But the critics are like, we want to still be friends with Activision Blizzard for some fucking reason. Actually, I think because it's quite apt that they make games about Satan, because they can interview him directly because he's in one of their fucking offices. But I think there's those ridiculous, horrific amount of penny pinching in AAA games these days, as well as just a bunch of boring ideas, and you get all this sci-fi. I don't like modern sci-fi games like Destiny and shit, where it's all this fucking mythical horseshit, no interesting characters, boring plots, and there's just very little there. I mean, like, and with how shittily these companies are treating their employees, I just, I've lost interest in, I'm never buying another fucking Rockstar game because of how fucking shittily they treated their franchise and shit. Like, they'll be like, GTA 6, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it, later, I'm not gonna bother. They completely fucked over the original trilogy for a quick buck. Well, not the original trilogy, of course, the PlayStation 2 trilogy, because that is absolute classic video games, some of the best ever made. I think 2 of which appeared in my top 10.
That really annoys me.
Didn't they actually bring back the ability to buy the originals after delisting them?
Yeah, but only on the Rockstar Games store.
No, but like that fucking remaster especially annoyed me, because some bits of that, I'm like, that, Vice City getting a proper third-person camera just makes it, stuff, just quality of life shit, right?
Yeah.
Making it, that's all it needed. But they didn't do it with any care. If they did it with care and attention and time and actually pay, like, it would have been great. But they managed to fuck, as you say, they managed to fuck up 3 of the best games ever made.
I mean, since the release of GTA 5 single player, Rockstar hasn't made a good video game, and I will stand by that. I know some people will go, but what about Red Dead Redemption 2? It's shit. It is an abysmal pile of arse. It is so dull. It is so generic and nothing. It's so slow. It's so deliberately slow for some fucking reason that I don't understand. It feels like it doesn't give a fuck about my time in any way.
I will say, I am one of the people who apparently likes Red Dead 2, which
you are a lot of people,
because it is. I like it being slow and stuff like that, and it frustrates me as a game because you can see, irregardless of its, validity design, you can see the craftsmanship in it.
Oh yeah, stunning.
Technically and aesthetically and graphically, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I think is so frustrating about it, because you can see in that game, irregardless of if you like it or not, the amount of talent at that studio that is just...
Yeah.
I just wish I was allowed to play in it.
Yeah, and it's just being wasted, and it's just being abused, and it's so frustrating.
Like, I wish I was just allowed to go and have fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of interesting
just let me play in the sandbox.
Yeah, there's lots of systems in there, but none of the systems come together.
No, I agree.
It's not... It it wants to be something like Heat Signature, but it's not. Because Heat Signature is a very simple game with a lot of simple systems to all tie together beautifully, which ends up with you punting yourself out of a fucking starship window and flying off into space. Because you made a mistake a few seconds ago. That is costing you. And I love that interplay of systems. And that's kind of what gets me. And that's why things like Elden Ring, which I think is this incredible piece of work. I've seen a lot of people bitching that the quest system is shit. They're like, the quest system, you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're supposed to do. I'm like, that feels right for this game. That quest system feels right for this game.
Well, see, this is this weird thing, because I know me and you obviously have much different tastes when it comes to open world, because I don't like Elden Ring as much as I respect it. I don't like it.
That's fucking madness. I cannot understand.
That's perfectly respectable. I can understand why you wouldn't.
I
love it, but I understand how someone wouldn't.
I understand just because of its difficulty.
It's not its difficulty. I don't get on with its design. Because
See, that's the bit I find madness.
Well, this is the thing, because one of the things I quite like about a lot of games, because something I always envy about you specifically, Daniel, is that you love a game that just goes fuck it, right, and just lets you go anywhere and do anything, right? You like a game to be very open and let you mess around with it.
Well, I like both ends of the spectrum. If you're going to be open, be open. If you're going to be linear. Don't fuck on in the middle.
Yeah, and I generally agree with that. I mean, the reason I think I got on with Red Dead 2 is because I played it clearly exactly like they expected someone to. But the problem with that game is obviously you can play it in any fucking way you want, and if you play it slightly out of the way they expect you to, it doesn't fucking make any sense. I think slightly looked out and then I played it clearly the way they expected. And
I get turned off by time wasting mechanics. So Red Dead and a lot of games have these now where you're punished for something and the solution to that punishment is to waste a little bit of time. So for instance in Red Dead, if you're fucking dirty or some shit, some stuff will happen. I don't know, people be mean to you. The solution to that is to go and have a bath, but that's just a cutscene. That's just a bit of your time wasted.
Well, this is the thing.
It's like the game is slightly worse until you waste this little bit of time.
This comes with a different taste thing, because as much as I feel like it's a time thing, part of what I liked about that game, I really liked how slow and deliberate everything was, because it made me feel really, really connected with the world. But I appreciate that it is just a time waster. And I thought it was for me, I found it a very thematic time waster, but it's still a time waster, I agree.
I mean, I understand the appeal of immersion. I crave immersive games, but I find like Fallout 4 to be an incredibly immersive game because you're in that world, you're building the stuff up. I love a modded Fallout 4, and I love playing and building. And I'm doing a survival run on my Steam Deck at the moment that is taking ages because it's really fucking hard on survival mode.
And it still looks incredible, despite being like 7-8 years old.
Yeah, but it
still looks
I
incredible.
I feel super immersed, but some of the stuff that they were like, this makes it survival and more immersive, I disagree with. Like, no fast travel was just irritating. I turned it back on once I got the vertibirds unlocked. So I played it without fast travel until then, but it was just kind of a slog, and I'm like,
I like the fact it makes you plan your looting and it makes you plan. You actually have to do expeditions, which you do not have to do in Fallout outside of survival mode, where you start thinking, okay, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go here, but then I'll have to walk back, so I may as well loop round this way, top up this, and then it actually becomes a round trip. And when you get home, it feels like, fuck, I've safely made it home.
Part of the problem with Fallout 4,
expedition success.
At least unmodded Fallout 4, is, at least I say unmodded in terms of the world, is that lack of fast travel, most of the time, if you, like, let's say you go from Sanctuary down to Dynasty, right? Mm-hmm. And you've done the average route. If you want to go back from Dynasty to Sanctuary, especially in survival mode, you've cleared everywhere else. So you're just walking and nothing's happening.
Yeah,
and it's time wasted. And how when I did a survival mode, I specifically set it up with War of the Commonwealth on a really light mode. So whenever I went out, it was dangerous. There was always shit going on, and no route was ever safe, even if I'd been on it a day ago. But I had to really fanny around to get it to that point. But I agree, it is just wasting the time, isn't it, normally?
That for me, like, I got to that point, but I went beyond that, and for me it just made it even better. Because I realised at one point, okay, while I'm just clearing the immediate area around Sanctuary, fine, just doing a loop, coming back to Sanctuary, improving my guns, etc., this is all fine. But I realised pretty quickly, once I was getting to the point where I almost had the teleporter unlocked to the Institute, so okay, I can teleport back to the Institute anytime I want to, I'm going to need to have my base close to the Institute. The closest base is Hangman's Alley. Clear it out. So now I need to make that my primary base. But I've got fucking tons of shit that I've stored in Sanctuary. So I literally had to recruit additional settlers and use them as pack animals.
Yeah, that's
where basically I just loads up their infantry with all my junk and then said, okay, now you're going to the new place. Now you're going to the new place. Here's 100 pounds of steel, 100 pounds of wood. Now you're going to the new place. And they all walked there, and I walked with them. I escorted them to the new place, because they can run into trouble otherwise. So I gave them guns, I gave them armor, I filled up their backpacks, and basically we migrated as a team to a new base, and it was one of the most fucking incredible, just immersive gaming things I've ever done.
Yeah, that's systems coming together to become better. But see, I use my pack mules differently to you. I send as many people out from each base as possible, because you can send more than one thing. So I connect up everything. It's basically loads of crisscrossing, like a hack.
Yeah, and if you give them a gun, they can actually be quite useful.
I give them a gun.
Just as a police force.
If I'm getting in trouble, I've got my men around the place, and I like doing it that way as well. So that's an extra...
And you basically, at that point, you're basically role-playing as the Minutemen, and you're actually sort of playing along.
I had this problem, though.
The mechanics for the Minutemen are actually very elegant, because it incentivizes you to form up many bases, have patrols going around the Commonwealth dealing with small local issues, building up artillery so that you can call in reinforcements. The mechanics suit the story so elegantly. Yeah. Fuck, why don't people like Fallout 4 more?
The story is shit.
Yeah, but the story is...
The core story's always shit in Fallout. It doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
Liam Neeson's gone missing. We better follow him with shit too.
The story, you look at the what happened when I did the complete series. The story wasn't the main story. The story was how I was reacting to it.
And this is not a Bethesda thing, by the way. You go back and play Fallout 1, Waterchip barely fucking comes up. Fallout 2 gets fucking disinterested in the gag, and it doesn't come up until the end of the game. Literally, Fallout 2, you follow a couple of, clues to the next clue, to the next clue, to the next clue. And, 4 clues in, some guy goes, I've no fucking clue, mate. Just try the nearby cities and maybe you'll find something. And then at the end of the game, you happen to find the thing you were looking for. And, the game just says, fuck it. Go explore. Maybe you'll find it.
That's what makes it great.
Fallout has never been about that central plot thread.
But the central plot thread is just a bed for you to tell your own stories on.
Exactly.
That's what I love about Elden Ring.
It's nothing more than an instigating incident.
Elden Ring is go be the Elden Lord. That's all it is go be the Elden Lord. And you're like...
I don't even know what the fuck that means.
Yeah, that's great. And I love that. It's okay, I need to go and fucking read some shit.
For me, it was more that first guy who just says, you're maiden. I'll fucking show you who's maidenless. I'm gonna have so many fucking maidens, mate.
And all of
them only have one eye. It's kind of weird. I think someone at From Software has a thing.
I love streaming Elden Ring because the amount of times I'll find something and the amount of comments you get, they're like, I never found that. I've beaten the game. I'm on New Game Plus 6 and I've never found this room. And stuff like that, and you're like, how big is this game?
Genuinely, when I was streaming Fallout 4 on that really hard survival mode, I was even finding stuff in Fallout 4 I'd never seen before. I was, because of the way I'd set that up with survival mode, but with everything being ultra hard, with Essentials mode was off for everyone, and there was just roaming packs of really hard enemies, it meant that all the civilians were dying, so I couldn't do that thing where I sent civilians out. They would die. So I had to get a Nuka World faction because they're better equipped, and I had to make these fortresses. To go to the glowing sea, I had to make this ridiculously huge fortress near the glowing sea as a staging post with a landing spot for the helicopter so it could land in the fortress.
Amazing.
And because I had to be so careful, I was scanning these through routes I'd never found before. And it was just, even though I'd messed with the game, obviously, it is just a load of systems that were working together. I'd say, and I think, Sniper Elite 5, even. Sniper Elite 5 is a great game that just came out. It has a lot of very clever little systems that all interact with each other.
I like Sniper Elite 5 a lot.
How much have you played of it?
Me and Rebecca are about halfway through the co-op, and we played a lot of the just survival shooting mode, because that's really fun.
Oh.
Have you tried it, John?
No.
Game Pass.
Sniper games don't super do it for me. They all blur into each other.
Sniper Elite 5. Sniper Elite 5 is like Hitman 4. It's like a Hitman game.
I feel like it's not.
No, it is.
No, it is. No, John. It's even to the point where you get new entry points for the levels and stuff like that. There's a lot of.
But what if I want? Yeah, but one of the things about Hitman 4 would be say accidents and shooting people.
You can do accidents. You can not shoot people. There's non-lethal bullets. You can take people out. I mean, every level there's a kill.
Oh, non-lethal bullets is just a cop-out for pacifism.
No, but I don't think there's non-lethal bullets.
There is.
Oh, my God. Don't worry. I know we've just shot him with a gun and now he's not moving and he's not going to get up no matter what we do. But don't worry. This was the non-lethal bullets.
Every level there's a kill target.
So there's still a 0 on your character sheet's kill list.
John, every level has a kill target, and there's usually a recommended method to kill them to get a challenge. But, like, you do get accident kills. You can get accident kills. I put a chandelier on someone. You can do that.
All right, you're talking me into it.
I threw someone in
concrete.
concrete.
Mask your shots is another thing. So if there's like a plane flying over, that'll be making noise so the people won't hear you. So you fire a bit when like the plane's making noise and stuff, and then you'll be able to take people out silently and stuff.
A lot of the areas you basically get there's like a main goal and little goals. And I got the last one I did. There's like a guy I needed to kill. There's like 2 things I needed to like disable in some way. But I could disable them like 7 different ways. I could like sabotage them. I could blow them up. There was a way that if I listened to a specific conversation, then snuck around and then got the guy, got his safe code, opened his safe, got the scuttle code, then found a phone, called Nazi High Command, then I could make them scuttle their own base. Which is hilarious.
Pretty good.
And then it's great.
I'll tell you what, a great immersive game. It had problems and bugs, etc. But Kingdom Come Deliverance. If I'm thinking of immersive games, that was one that that really, I don't know, I kind of lived in that world. When I start to live in the worlds, like Cyberpunk, I think was incredibly immersive apart from the game. The world was incredibly immersive, and I loved...
Oh yeah, I love pissing around in the world. Like, I've got bored as shit with the plot, but just wandering around finding the odd, like, little, mini dungeon bar to break into was super fun.
Yeah, and just sort of you get out, you walk... Like, if I want to put the time in... That's the difference. There it is. I've just seen it. That's the difference. If I want to put the time into things. So in Cyberpunk, I would always go and get my car from the garage before I drive. So I'd get out of my apartment, I'd, shower in the morning, because fuck it, I wanted to do that thing. Put on whatever clothes I went to for the morning. I'd go down, get into the garage, get my car, drive around pretty properly, go to a shop, go and get food, and I was like, okay, this is like, I'm role-playing this a little bit, and then I'll do a mission for the day.
I found that really interesting, though, that, like, obviously Red Dead 2 has a lot of those systems, but you didn't engage with those ones.
Because they're forced on you.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it?
That's what I'm just saying.
And the moment you enter an actual plot mission, the game like, no, fuck you, you will do it this way. You do the plot missions this way, these things will definitely happen, and fuck you. And if you take one fucking step through the wrong door, I am failing you and putting you right back to the beginning.
You've got to kill these guys in a field. Oh, I'm going to go up high on that field over there with a long-range gun. No. Can I climb on the roof of that building? No.
Yeah, there's one really early on where you're supposed to break into a factory to steal a coach, I think? And I, scoped it out from a nearby hillside. I said, oh, I bet I can get over the wall here because there's, a slight elevation, so I can get on that rock and jump up. Nope, you're going in the front gate. Really? Yeah. Am I? Are you sure I am? Yes, you are.
I'm incredible.
Yeah, if there's something on a table that I want to pick up in a game, I look at it and I press the pickup button and it gets picked up. Because in the real world, if I want to pick something up off my desk, I just give my brain the command, pick it up, and then my arms and shit do the autopilot stuff. In Red Dead, it's like, I want to pick that thing up. Okay, I'm leaning forwards, grabbing the beans, leaning back, cutting. That's not how it works. That's less immersive. That's forced. That is less. Having to pat all the enemies down and shit is less immersive because I'm not actually rooting through them. Like in VR, if I had to,
is not an inherent guts.
LA Noire.
Yeah.
Patting down people that are dead on the floor and you open their coats up and you go through each pocket was nice and immersive because that's all the actions that are happening and I'm like, well, what's going to come out? And there's a nice element of the mystery detective stuff in that. Just patting people down with an animation or skinning something. I'm like, that's not... I'm not doing that. That's just a cutscene. But
this is the weird
thing.
You're
taking away my game.
This is one of the things I respect so much with Sniper Elite, because Sniper Elite goes for a lot of regressive realism in some ways, but very arcadey stuff in others, where it's just inconvenience.
Sniper Elite's a AA, not a AAA game, though.
But that's what's great about it.
That's its strength. I've always said that a AA game is more interesting, because you don't have that ridiculous amount of it has to make this much money. It's just like the top tier of people giving a shit about what they make.
That's what
very rarely you get a AAA game like that. Elden Ring.
This is why I'm incredibly constantly angry about Ubisoft and Watch Dogs Legion, because Watch Dogs Legion as a game, as a AAA game, is obviously very creatively interesting, but it's done by a very horrible studio who didn't fully commit to the game.
Yeah. I think for storytelling, especially again, it's when I was playing it and stuff, and I kept my cast of characters. I think if you're willing to roleplay a bit, Watch Dogs, they should have pushed a bit more of a roleplay game and less of a Ubisoft game, but it's Ubisoft and they use the same model.
Interestingly, in the updates, they did push it more, oddly.
Yeah, actually, you're right. When they updated it, it's like you can see where all your teammates are on the map at all times, so you can go visit them and stuff like that.
Yeah, and apparently now, when there's a next story mission, there'll always be one of your team members scouting it out.
Yes.
And it's recommended you just switch to them. Yeah, which it's little things like that. But it's much like in Red Dead, where you can see all these things, where a AAA studio has a lot of really talented people at it, and, you know, Watch Dogs Legion has some really technically interesting systems that aren't ever done, that are really creatively strong.
Oh, it's amazing.
But it doesn't...
I'm never going to take it away. That game is legitimately an amazing piece of work.
Yeah, but then, you know, it has this fucking overhang of the fact that all the devs are treated like shit and they don't fully commit necessarily to what they want the game to be. You know, Red Dead was like, oh, we're going to make it immersive. But at the same time, they're like, no, we still have to have all linear story missions. It's like, no, commit to one.
Have you seen Alex Hirsch on Twitter talking about, he made Gravity Falls, that incredible X-Files, but for kids, but also you should totally watch it. He's been talking about, because it's 10 years old now, he's been talking about some of the shit he had to deal with Disney. And you can just see higher executives not getting things.
Morbius.
And it's put this. That's what happens on the. That's why I think I'm such a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's because it feels like, and now especially, I mean, it didn't for a while, but it feels like people are just allowed to come in and make the story they want to make in this world. I mean, and really kind of push rules and things like that.
Doctor Strange 2, you could not mistake that was anything but a Raimi film.
Yeah, it was very Raimi.
Yeah.
There's no way in fuck you could look at that and think, well, they clearly tied Raimi's hands behind his back.
Yeah, I said, as me and Matt came out of it, because we went to see it together, I said...
that's sweet.
Oh, yeah, that's just, you know, me and Matt like to watch our Marvel films together, don't we, Matt?
It's gay. We're gay together for Marvel.
We also went with my sister. But... You know, when we came out of it, I was like, if you didn't tell me, if I didn't know going into that was a Sam Raimi film, I would have come out going, that feels like a Sam Raimi film. Because it was a Sam Raimi film.
Yeah.
And I love that. Incidentally, that's on Disney Plus in 5 days' time.
Weird. No, by the way, I saw a thing about... I saw a little snippet of an interview with Taika Waititi about Thor Ragnarok.
Ooh, excited.
I'm
excited for the next one.
But and how that... Obviously, the script was pre-done, but he always has a thing that he gets to do a script pass over.
Yeah.
And how... He came in and Korg had like one line initially, and he just changed a huge amount of that script to make it feel like a Taika Waititi film.
Yeah.
And
it was good that he did that.
Yeah, but you can kind of see that was the first proper instance, really, of Marvel giving a distinct director a very distinct...
Yeah, because they were... Remember, Ant-Man was originally going to be Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Which I think would have been really, really cool too.
Would have been really, really cool. There was loads of good test footage and stuff, but then they were trying to go for that a bit flat and everything, the same sort of thing. If they're bringing Edgar Wright in now,
it would be way.
The dream. But he's too busy with Doctor Who at the moment, maybe.
But that's weird, though, isn't it? In that in the film industry, a lot of times, a lot of these auteur directors and they will just get trusted. And they were like, here's a load of money, fuck it, do what you do best. Even if it's in something like the MCU, which is trying to be a bit homogenized. They still let directors fanny around with it. Yet it's interesting that the AAA industry is the exact opposite of that for the games.
Yeah. But I think the MCU is a very special thing now. Because I think it's got so big and so popular that they can kind of slap it on anything. They can go, yeah, fuck it, let's make Ms. Marvel a show about, a young girl who's grown up in New Jersey and she's fucking Muslim. And let's tell that story.
Yeah.
In this thing, like this in the second episode, the scenes of her in what's it? Is it the not synagogue? That's what's the word? Where they pray? Where do they go pray? Mosque. That's the word. That's the word I was looking for. And they make comments about how it's still divided up between men and women. And there's lots of there's commentary about that, and it's also about sort of a young girl growing up in this age and stuff. And it's you're like, okay, the show before this was Moon Knight, which is about Egyptian gods and all this shit. And you're like, okay, are these in the same universe still?
And what I really enjoyed, by the way, as well, is obviously Marvel fans, obviously comic book fans are inherently, generally, very white men who don't like this, and I quote, SJW shit as the words they usually use. And I like that Marvel go, fuck it, we don't care. And just double down. I like that
Disney
a lot.
seems to finally be realising that gay people are a thing, which is nice to see.
Bit late.
Which is... It's taken them a long time.
I'm liking Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel's super fun.
I'm loving it.
Cute.
I don't know where they got.
Cute.
That's her first acting role.
For her first role, she's incredible.
She's a
so kid. It's her first thing. What the fuck is happening?
I saw a brief interview, and it turns out she's a massive MCU fangirl and is like in love with Robert Downey Jr., which is fitting for the character.
I think if we kind of rank the stars and how much they understand what the fuck is going on, she's jumped straight at number 1. I think Gwyneth Paltrow's at the bottom because she's not sure which film she's been in.
Gwyneth Paltrow's not sure what egg she's
got. So she absolutely refused to believe she'd been in a Spider-Man film.
I mean, she was...
and tried to deny it during an interview.
Ms. Marvel was 7 years old when the first Iron Man film came out.
Weird.
I know, right?
Weird.
And she's such a good actress. It's so fun, that show.
And yet somehow it kind of makes sense because we're now dealing with the next generation of heroes who their backstory is they grew up in a world where these heroes were the heroes.
Yeah, and I
like Kate Bishop. That's Kate Bishop in particular. That's very strongly her
Kate
thing.
Bishop as well. I loved Hawkeye. I actually went out and I bought.
I really enjoyed Hawkeye. I mean, I like.
It's literally on my desk right here. I've got Hawkeye, the saga of Barton and Bishop. I got the whole Matt Fraction run.
Question. Right. Okay. We're talking about how Marvel are able to. They have enough clout that they can kind of do whatever they want. And if they put a Marvel logo on it, they know it'll get watched. So they know that whatever someone does in that, they can give people. Relatively speaking,
and if there's the odd wimble, and if there's the odd wimble like Eternals or Black Widow, it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
How did Doctor Strange do at the box office?
Decently.
Does anyone know?
Which one, first or second?
Second one.
Hugely successful.
Good.
But this is the thing, right?
And yes, they can slap Marvel on everything and everyone watching
right?
because Doctor Strange isn't like an A-rate fucking superhero.
But this is what I was saying, right? They're willing to give a lot of the directors more leeway just because obviously it'll sell just because it's a Marvel thing, right? Before anything else, even. They've already got this big. And obviously, there was a period of games, I remember, where they would like... A game would get developed, and then at the last minute they were like, oh, wait, shit, we should tie this into an existing franchise to get it to be sold. Notably, the one I remember most notably is there's a Pirates of the Caribbean game.
Which wasn't.
Yeah.
Pirate games tend to get fucked up. Like, look at Skull and Bones. Which is a great Ubisoft example, because they were like, yeah, this is a game that's going to be a multiplayer shooter. Wait, what's live service? Live service is live service now. Wait, it's a battle royale. Wait, come back! Ah! And they've rebooted it like 4 fucking times or some shit.
Yeah, but it's weird that they can't commit, because even if you have something in the same franchise, doesn't mean it'll sell. Notably, Marvel's fucking Avengers for Square Enix did terribly.
Absolutely fucking
by a big studio.
I mean,
it
wasn't a good game, really.
No, it wasn't, but it proves that like the way people buy games is really obviously very different to how they'll see.
And
films.
you know what's going to do that next? It's Gotham Knights, which looks boring as shit. Gotham Knights, it's like Arkham, but we took out all the good stuff and put in boring shit.
Here's a fun thing. I don't even know what the fuck Gotham Knights is. I've never even heard of it.
It's incredibly boring, multiplayer, bland, scrappy
stuff. It's a kind of sequel to Arkham Knight, but it's co-op, and the 4 main characters are like Batwoman and Nightwing and Robin and Red Hood. And
except he's using non-lethal bullets.
Yeah, and it's just a co-op version of Arkham, which it isn't. I don't think it's doing necessarily exactly what Avengers was doing, but it definitely does feel live servicey. But it is like
the gameplay looks so boring.
But this is the thing, right? Why has the games industry struggled so much with just selling shit?
Well, you were saying earlier about, yes, you don't have, like, you know, the directors brought in to do this thing. We don't in the West. Japan still has them. Literally in the Bethesda showcase, Xbox just, you know, brought out Hideo Kojima and just, look, we're about to let Hideo Kojima off the fucking chain.
Hideo Kojima's shit.
Japan still got these. We've got Suda51. We've got Swery. We've got Hideo Kojima. They have got those big directors who come in and have weird-ass visions in Japan. We just don't have them in the West.
I disagree.
Okay.
Because there's a boy called Tim Schafer.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, he's my favourite. Like, I'm not going to beat around that fucking bush. He makes my favourite games. I love Double Fine games.
But I think, obviously, someone like Kojima's obviously getting big AAA budgets, whereas obviously Double Fine isn't.
Double Fine, mate, you know, double A.
I'm not sure Tim Schafer wants to have AAA budget.
No, he does not. Yeah, I mean, we do have a few people like your Tim Schafers died about the place, but I always find that they're sort of... The Japanese ones focus on doing something like very specific and they have a specific kind of game they like to make.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to make and Metal Gear
Swery
Solid
does keep making basically the same game over and over.
That's true.
That's true.
No, all these people are men.
Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding are the same game. Only one of them is shit because they just let Kojima do his bollocks. But Tim Schafer just makes like whatever the fuck he fancies when he starts making stuff. And I love that. See, that's what I kind of like, because you can tell who loves games. And who, because I always think that Hideo Kojima doesn't really give a shit about games. He loves movies. Like, that's the thing he wants to do, is make movies.
And sometimes TV shows.
And sometimes TV. He's making many TV shows, aren't they? Like, did you see that Death Stranding 2 was announced by Norman Reedus just accidentally mentioning it?
No.
Oh, yes, I did see this.
Norman Reedus was in an interview like, you do Death Stranding 2? He was like, yeah. That was it. Announced. And they're like, oh, okay.
Well, what's Tim Schafer even been doing at the moment? It feels like not much has come out.
For what?
Has it just been... Oh, I guess there was Psychonauts 2.
Yeah,
fairly
Psychonauts
recently.
2, man. Psychonauts 2.
So is one of the things that obviously...
Game of the year last year.
When we're talking about...
Fair enough.
Sorry if that's not enough for you, John.
Before that, there'd been nothing since 2017, so I was like, what is Tim Schafer getting up to? I'm going to be honest, Broken Age didn't do it for me.
I liked Broken Age, but I'm not a big point-and-click fan.
In AAA, is one of the bigger problems, then, that the teams are so homogenized and there's no... Because obviously, everything we're talking about here is that when they have someone kind of leading it as a sole vision. I mean, notably, obviously, even Rockstar used to have that with the houses.
I mean, it's board-led, not person-led.
Well, yeah,
it's not director-led, it's board-led. That's the problem with AAA, is it's board-led.
Yeah, and they don't know what
would make the most money right now, which is why 6 Horror Shooters got announced.
Yeah, but it's weird that the games industry hasn't realised what the film industry realised.
Yeah, but the game industry doesn't need to, because the games still sell.
I mean, Marvel.
And that's the thing. Marvel has brought a lot of creative people in.
What I mean is, like, the Avengers game was the exact proof that isn't necessarily true.
Well, that was absolutely board-led. That's what that was.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Shit ton of copies. It's just nobody played it after it had sold its shit ton of copies. And I assume it's dead now. Like, I haven't heard anything hide nor hair about it for a long time.
There's an update the other day.
It had an update not long ago.
Yeah. They updated it to
I think
ruin all the
there's still a few whales that need to be milk jets. You know, they're going to put those whales through the time window a few more times.
Yeah. Gotta milk them whales.
Yeah, exactly, just to maximise the milking potential.
Yeah. Rebecca just looked at me and just opened the door and went, what the fuck? And I closed the door again. Good, thank you.
There are currently 300 people playing Marvel's Avengers.
Oh no.
How many are playing Elden Ring, a single-player game that came out in, February?
I'm going to say 30,000.
I mean, this is on Steam, by the way. This is very specific.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, 55,000.
It's pretty good.
Alright. It's not bad.
For a game not designed to have that sort of longevity, apart from the fact it's the world's longest fucking game. It's amazing. I'm over 60 hours in, and I just keep finding new shit.
As a note, by the way, the all-time
Never had
peak,
that in a game before.
The all-time peak for Elden Ring on PC was 950,000 people playing it at once.
Oh, they must have been so sad it didn't hit 1 million.
The all-time peak for Marvel's Avengers on PC was 28,000.
Lol. Oh no.
28,000.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, they released the beta, didn't they? And we all played the beta. The beta was played by loads of people. Then everyone went, oh, this is shit, and didn't buy the full game.
Yep. Pretty much. I mean, Satisfactory did better than that. Satisfactory's all-time peak was 35,000, and currently 12,000 people are playing Satisfactory.
I'm one of them. It's running in the background. No, legitimately, my all levels are too low, and I'm like, I'm going to stock up my podcast.
I didn't think you were playing it again.
I got back into it a little. I wanted something to play because I've got like a little bit of time to kill.
It's got a big update, I think. Soon.
Update 6 is just about to go into the experimental branch.
I think you'll like that. It's got a lot of quality of life stuff you'll appreciate.
See, I've left it for now. I'm not gonna.
I mean, even Factorio has 13,000 current players. Like,
yeah.
Indie games are selling, and it's interesting
because those. If you make a game that's worth the money, and it's got legs to it, like Factorio and Satisfactory, which you can kind of go back to infinitely. That's just a thing I'd want to go back to. I want to go back to something because the gameplay is compelling, not addictive. Every time they announce that something is addictive, I'm like, you can get in the fucking bin. I want something compelling. I want something that draws me in, not because a number's going up. I want something that draws me in creatively.
Sorry, can I just briefly mention that Watch Dogs 1 currently has more players on Steam than Marvel's Avengers. Watch Dogs 1.
What's the...
Yes, the best one.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
I think Watch Dogs 1 is the best one. Fuck you.
I think Watch Dogs 1 is the worst one. Fuck
it was the best focused, and they didn't have the convoy missions, which were the best thing in the entire franchise in any subsequent game. Fuck you.
It's shit and smelly, and I hate it. Fuck you.
Great. Watch Dogs Legion, best good boy.
Watch Dogs Legion is best good boy.
Yeah.
And then Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs 2 is amazing. It's like Watch Dogs Legion, Watch Dogs 2, right at the top, like, ooh, we're friends, doing different stuff, and then, spacebar, 1.
Good first attempt, but it's still first attempt.
Yeah, cute ideas, but it's got guy who thinks he's Batman and he's an absolute fucking
Can any of you
prick.
think of another Steam game that, like a little Steam game that might have more than Marvel's Avengers? I want to search a game.
Go see how many people are currently playing Stardew Valley, because I bet that's an absolute fuck ton.
Oh, that's going to be loads.
I mean, fuck, yeah, loads. Hang on. 33,000.
That's amazing. That game's got such
Hang on,
legs.
what's the boob game called? The first boob game?
Time Tenshi.
Time Tenshi. No, it's all corrected to township. No. Tenshi. Tenshi with a C or an S?
Tenshi, 10 the number, S-H-I.
Okay, cool. That currently has... Oh, it's all corrected to town... Sorry. Time Tenshi.
Yes, Time Tenshi.
Sorry, my phone doesn't like it, keeps autocorrecting. It's like town.
But there are 4, remember? Like, they're divided amongst the many parts of this epic story.
Not a single person is playing any of them.
Oh,
no!
All right.
Oh.
How about
I can fix that.
VR.
What was that, sorry?
Job Simulator.
Job Simulator.
I'm going to bet 4 people playing that right now.
I mean, I imagine more, because it's a popular VR game. 104.
Yeah.
And you know what? Tunic's fucking great.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, like, when I say it's small, I mean, like, just like even like an indie game, which might not even be that popular.
Tunic's a pretty small game.
Tunic's 187, so only 100 less than the $300 million. God, it's really funny watching how poorly that game did.
Obra Dinn.
Obra
Dinn.
Yeah.
Obra Dinn. I mean, Obra Dinn's not.
It's a game you don't go back to. Yeah. It's a one shot.
I mean, I did replay it recently.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't go back to it.
Well, I'd forgotten a lot of it, enough that I could replay it without. 62 Obra Dinn.
Oh, Wildermyth. Wildermyth's
How do I spell that?
Cool.
Wilder Myth, all one word.
Okay, Wildermyth. 419. So that's doing better than Marvel's Avengers.
Nice, and it deserves to as well. Wildermyth is one of the best storytelling engines I've ever played.
It's just like, but it's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? That like, they had all the money, they had a good studio, they had all the money, they had the fucking MCU, they had the Marvel license. Yeah,
they didn't have the MCU license because no one looks or acts.
But they
right.
had the Marvel license. Yet somehow, it's almost incredible the folly of the AAA games industry and how they keep almost repeating the same mistakes, and like, it's almost kind of sad to watch, but it's kind of reassuring that even these smaller games are doing better than stuff like that. I mean, obviously this is only on Steam, but still. I mean, I'm trying to think, what's even an older, smaller game? I mean, even fucking, the original Portal, even. Like, the original Portal's currently got 300... The original Portal's...
Left 4 Dead. The original Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead 1.
Yeah.
Does anyone play Left 4 Dead 1?
Yeah, well, I'm not showing Left 4 Dead 1.
You know what? Maybe put 2 in. You know what? That's fair.
No, Left 4 Dead 1 has more players than Marvel's.
Yay!
366 playing Left 4 Dead 1. 20,000 playing 2. But yep, there's more people playing Left 4 Dead 1.
There are more people in the world who just haven't realised there's a sequel to Left 4 Dead.
Oh, that's really funny.
That there are choosing to play.
That's really funny. Oh my god.
Oh god, do you want to know something that's really funny? Sorry, Matt.
Mm?
Just seen a bit of news. Vince McMahon will appear on SmackDown tonight.
I hope everyone's like,
fire me, Stephanie! Fire me, you fucking mark!
Oh, I'm hoping the crowd fucking has a great time with that one. John,
I
watch wrestling.
Boo him. John, watch AEW. It's good stuff.
I don't fully get wrestling. I'm sorry.
You don't have to. That's nice about it. You just sort of vaguely go along with it. I had to do a full. Yesterday I did a stream, and because I was playing Sniper Elite, and I had the title being the title was Matt is more elite than Danhausen, and several people came in the chat being, "Oh, you don't want to mess with Danhausen," and then I just did an entire fucking promo about Danhausen being a bitch and how I could take Hookhausen any day. And it's just long.
I don't know what it is. I cannot get immersed in wrestling. I've tried to give it a go, but I cannot get immersed in it. I just can't. My brain doesn't accept it. It's like it's incompatible.
Immersed.
All right. Yes,
immersed?
Like yes, you must have a certain be able to accept the story and what's happening in front of you without like repeatedly going, but I don't understand and.
I'm not immersed in wrestling.
Wrestling has kayfabe, which is anything in kayfabe is in the story of wrestling, and then there's stuff that's out of kayfabe, and right now there's stuff that kind of dances between the two, and so you don't like. There's a wrestler called MJF who is one of the finest fucking wrestlers in the world, and his storyline is kind of things leaked out that his contract was going dodgy and he wanted more money and he was upset, and then he goes on the show with a live mic and he ends up swearing and they cut the mic off and we haven't seen him since, and in like one of the fucking hottest promos I've ever seen, and we don't know if any of this is real or not.
For context, by the way, John, his character is like this rich, fucking uppity, demanding child, basically.
Yeah, like his cameo is like £400-500, and he's always just telling people to go fuck themselves. There's someone who's like, you should go watch him because some of them are funny. Like there's someone who's like, my dad died, and he's like, now who gives a shit?
There's a video like, of him doing like a signing, and some like little girl turns up with like artwork she did of him, and like she hands it to him as a gift, and he just scribbles on it and throws it back and says, "Be better." And just like it's like a tiny little girl. It's like we're like, here's some art, and it's just
funny as shit.
Oh, it's fun, but that's the thing, John. I'm not immersed in like the actual stuff. I don't really give a fuck, but it's a fun thing to watch all the same.
I'll tell you what, watching Wardlow fight MGF though was one of the funnest, just satisfying. Wrestling is the best storytelling on television, especially AEW. No, it is. It really, truly is. When I give a shit about wrestling, I give a shit about it more than anything else.
Yeah, but you have ADHD, so don't we?
Yeah, so I have ADHD, and yet I sit and watch like a 4.5 hour pay-per-view.
That's called hyper-focusing, Daniel.
Yeah, but like it's distracting, and there's other stuff, and I'm like, oh, I could talk about that online, but no, I'm sitting there watching it, enjoying it, big smile on my face.
It's really silly, John, and it's not about getting immersed. It's just about whatever the fuck. Like, I went to...
It's also not really
I can't explain why to you. Like, I could go to a theatre and I can watch a play, and I know that these are actors acting out a story, but I can have a lovely time and I can accept it, and the same for film, and the same for any other medium. My brain is not compatible with wrestling.
Yeah, but you
what if you went to a live wrestling show, and it's just actors putting on a...
I hate going to a live anything.
One of my favourite things, I went to a live NXT show years and years and years ago when it was still good.
That was a long time ago.
Like, I hadn't really followed NXT a huge amount. I didn't know half of what was going on, right? I had no idea what was happening, but didn't really matter. I think it's something you said years ago, Daniel, that one of the funnest things about wrestling versus any other sort of like sports type thing is that in any actual sport, like there's always like two teams and everyone's cheering, but in wrestling, everyone's just sort of vaguely like whatever to whoever, like
yeah.
People's affiliation change. You're like, yay, that person. Like, no, fuck you. You know.
I mean, also wrestling doesn't go to a lot of 0-0 draws.
No.
That's I mean, Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega did, but that was one of the best fucking matches I've ever seen in my entire life.
But this is the thing as well, John. We're talking about this, but half the fun of wrestling is watching someone put themselves up with a fucking big cage.
I mean, also, yeah, Darby Allin is a guy who you watch him wrestle and you're like, I don't think that guy actually gives a shit if he lives. Like, the speed he's willing... Like, he's a scrappy little thin thing, and I love watching him wrestle because he's so different. You get such a different mix
just
of
ragdolls.
Yeah. He literally is just like... It's like watching, like, OG fucking Half-Life physics at work. Well, Half-Life 2. When they got that physics, he's just like, It's amazing.
John, you know what a wrestling match is like? A wrestling match is like watching a good E3 stream where half the games are really good and half of them shit.
No, I disagree with AEW.
That doesn't sound necessarily like a good time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think WWE is mostly shit and AEW is mostly good these days.
Well, yeah, but you know where you're sort of in it for the sort of like, you don't really know what you're going to get. I don't follow wrestling near as much as you, Daniel. I don't really follow what's going on. But what's quite nice about it is whenever I watch a pay-per-view with you, I'm like, what's going on? Like, oh, he's fine. I'm like, cool. Like,
yeah, that guy's fine. They do the promo. You don't need to see him.
Yeah, it's really it. They turn up, they punt each other. I'm like, oh, that was a cool flip. You know, like, oh, you know, oh shit, he's dressed like a demon. Rad. You know, like, who gives a fuck?
But yeah, you can get lots of stuff out of it. It was like, okay, so this is Danhausen. Oh Jesus. He's oh god. This is Orange Cassidy. His gimmick is he's just lazy.
But that's the thing I found about wrestling. The characters are just, someone takes an idea and takes it to its just almost stereotypical logical extreme.
I mean, yeah, like you've got on the same show, you'll have like Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, and they've got like 4 years of story that is like coming to a climax, and they're like brutally beating the shit out of each other, and they used to be friends, and they're all like almost to tears with how much they hate each other, and then like the next match is like Danhausen's here and he's doing a silly dance while kicking teeth out of people. And you're like, I love this.
Danhausen's a spooky clown, basically, John. That's the quickest way I can describe it.
He's very nice, very evil.
And he speaks like this. He's Danhausen. Very good.
He doesn't speak like that.
Sort
what the
like
fuck
that.
was that?
Very nice, very evil.
Yes, this is Danhausen. He talks like this, but with an American accent.
Daniel got a cameo of Danhausen of Rebecca for Valentine's Day, and he starts it, but his air cons aren't, and then he just goes, oh, the air con. He gets up, and he's doing all the characters, goes and turns the air conditioner off, and he comes back, and he's like, oh, what's going on?
I got Rebecca one of Bryan Danielsson, so I'm just saying, who did the... Actually, Bryan Danielson's ones were really cheap. He put them up for a while, like literally no money, and I just didn't have one. So I'm happy with that.
But it's a fun thing, like, it's kind of nothing. But it's kind of a fun nothing.
It's kind of everything, though. Like, if you want to get into wrestling, you could watch nothing but wrestling.
Yeah, but, like, I'm someone who's quite casually into wrestling. Like, I don't actually watch much of it. I vaguely follow it. Daniel mentions it, and I'll be able to keep an eye on what's going on. But whenever I watch a wrestling, I'm just having a nice time. It's good.
I watch Dynamite and Rampage every week.
Yeah, you do.
Try and catch up on Darks every now and then, and every pay-per-view.
Yeah, I watch the pay-per-views, and sometimes.
Yeah, you've got to fucking get your ass down here for the New Japan Pro Wrestling crossover with AEW on the 29th.
Okay.
The 29th.
I'll see some people punt each other.
26th.
I mean,
yeah, see some people we don't know punting people we don't. I want Kenny Omega to come back for that one. He's got to come back.
I mean, it's distinctly possible every train in the country may be exploded on that day, near then. But maybe.
No, that's next week. Is the rail strike, isn't it?
No,
shit, that's next week.
It lasts for ages.
Yeah. It's Saturday, isn't it?
Well, it's several days.
It's not on the Friday though. It's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, right?
Hang on, I can check.
We'll do that afterwards. We're actually recording a podcast right now. I don't know if you know. We probably shouldn't.
Yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
John's like, we are. I haven't talked about expanding titties for 20 minutes now, and I'm getting furious. Actually, fuck, we've been talking for 2 hours. Oh my god. Right, we should probably wrap this up because I got a lot of shit to do today, and I was only supposed to go an hour and a half.
John's eyes glazed over when we started talking about wrestling. That's it.
It did.
Wait, what? Sorry, what's happening?
Any final things anybody wants to say about E3 that didn't happen this year?
That didn't happen this year?
Yeah, it didn't happen this year.
Fallout didn't happen this year and won't be for fucking decades.
They did announce it, though, didn't they? Fallout 5 did get announced.
Yeah, they announced that they're still pre-producing the game that's gonna come before the Fallout after the game that's not even out yet.
Do you want a spoiler about the future of Fallout? I think they're gonna give it to a different team. Now they're going
to give it to a different team, but our best bet for one before the heat death of the universe is there'll be another spin-off somewhere.
Yeah,
give Skyrim grandma. Have you seen Skyrim grandma? That old lady YouTuber who plays Skyrim
Shirley.
And stuff.
She seems very sweet.
She said she really wants Elder Scrolls 6 to come out before she dies, and I'm like, yes, I've got the exact same worry, love.
I mean, maybe when he said Skyrim 2, whatever the fuck Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be called, not Skyrim 2, obviously. Maybe when he says, oh, that's in pre-production, maybe that's Bethesda talk for, actually, it's out next year.
Or is Bethesda talk for it'll be 10 years away.
No, Bethesda actually have a history of announcing a game, and actually it's out later that year. Fallout 4 came out of fucking nowhere.
My bet is 2027.
No.
Mm-hmm. That's what my
Not
bet
a chance.
Yeah. 4 years after Starfield.
No. I think we'll have a good look at it in 23 and it'll be out 24.
Oh, no.
You are setting yourself up for absolute fucking disappointment there.
I don't think 27...
Look, we know for a fact they started working on Fallout 4 the moment 3 was done. I don't give a shit what they say. Work on Fallout 5 is currently happening.
I think some ideas are being bandied around.
Yeah, but you got to remember, Fallout 4 came out... Fallout 4, in between Fallout 3 and 4, only Skyrim released. That was their only game.
Only.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, between Fallout 4 and 5...
Yeah, only the most successful game of all time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is between 4 and 5, they're obviously doing 2 much larger games. And as Rockstar have shown, every game gets longer.
Skyrim was 2011, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, about then, yeah.
And then Fallout was 2014?
15, I think.
Yeah, 15.
15. So 4 years. So Starfield's 2023, so 4 years after that, if they keep the same pace up...
No, but this is my argument is I think it's doing Rockstar pacing. Where it's exponentially longer every time.
It's going to just slowly get longer and longer and longer.
Well, yeah, because, GTA 3 to Vice City was a year, Vice City to San Andreas was 2, San Andreas to fucking 4 was 4 years, and then 4 to 5 was like fucking 8, and now it's been fucking 70 years, and there's nothing else, like...
The absolute best I could hope for is Fallout 5 in 2026.
2031.
And that's probably really optimistic.
No, 2031.
So I really hope that someone else gets to do a spin-off with the license in the meantime.
That's unrealistic.
Fallout 5, 2031. You heard it here
I
first.
think 2030. I legitimately.
And on that terrible disappointment, I've got to go do other shit. That was a podcast. John will now give us our final thought of the day.
Oh.
Yep, fair enough. Bye!
Bye!
Good night, everybody!